Chapter 1179. Lin Feng was watching the battle. In terms of life level, both he and Li Poji were a level higher than others. Plus, he was a realm force cultivator. Even Li Poji would have a hard time finding him, let alone the Miracle Saint King. Although the Miracle Saint King was strong, it was only in terms of combat power. Blood Shadow is heavily injured, Lin Feng thought. Just as Blood Shadow had predicted, the Miracle Holy King was even more terrifying than he had expected, especially Wind Giant's sword, one of the three ancient artifacts, the weapon of Emperor Minwu. In the end, it still fell into his hands. Lin Feng was not surprised. With the Miracle Saint King's status and strength, he would naturally be able to get what he wanted. His reputation on the Nemo planet was exactly the same as Lin Feng's on Earth. Whoosh! Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Li Poji was stronger than Blood Shadow and was evenly matched with the Miracle Saint King. What a strong sword Dao attainment, Lin Feng thought to himself. Both of them had reached the pinnacle of their mastery of swords. Li Poji was in the 6th tier of the Minute Subtlety, while Miracle Saint King was in the 6th tier of the Extreme Subtlety. Watching them fight would be of great help to his own understanding of blade techniques. Right now, his sword Dao was only a wall away from breaking through to level 6 Sword Heart. It was a battle between wind and light. Although Li Poji's light cultivation wasn't bad, it was completely incomparable to the Miracle Saint King. With the explosion of the strongest bloodline of the Crimson Sun race, the Sky Giant Sword's power also increased. Li Poji's strength had indeed increased greatly, but he had just reached the Cosmic System state. His combat power was still a distance away from the Miracle Saint King. Without the ancient artifact, Brother Li and the Miracle Saint King's strength should be on par, Lin Feng thought. They both had their advantages. Whoever could win would depend on who was better and who had a stronger will to fight. However, the Sky Giant Sword changed the direction of the battle. A Cosmic System State treasure and the Miracle Saint King's bloodline were perfectly matched. Li Poji's disadvantage immediately became apparent. Three-colored King Helmet. Lin Feng looked at Li Poji. The key to his victory was the ancient artifact. It was one of the three ancient artifacts in a set, but their functions were different. The skeleton armor he got should be the weakest one, which was a defensive type. The Miracle Saint King's sword was a weapon type, which was good at attacking. Li Poji's three-colored King Helmet was a support type. The tricolored gemstone contains the power of Great Monarch Minwu's clone. It has the power to strike once. He and Brotherly knew, but the Miracle Saint King didn't. This strike was very likely to determine the outcome of the battle. I should lend Brotherly a hand. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. How. This was the absolute strength of the Miracle Saint King, Chi Hao. He even dared to fight against the 5 demon emperors by himself. At that time, he had yet to obtain the Firmament Greatsword. Now, he had even obtained Great Emperor Minwu's weapon. The giant sword in the sky displayed its might, and the blazing sun on the forehead of the Miracle Saint King tore apart like a crack. The broken scarlet sun was like a light emissary giving judgment to a dark demon. The sword intent became stronger and stronger, and Li Poji's situation became more and more dangerous. The Miracle Saint King's sword had fused with the origin of light, bursting forth with a power that surpassed the cultivation of the 4th level of the Tao of Origin. Li Poji's illusory figure was heavily struck by the formless sword intent, and the movement technique that he was so proud of fell into a predicament. At this moment, the Miracle Saint King's attack was condensed to the peak. The Miracle Saint King seemed to have sensed something and turned around. Boom! He did not see anything, but his head, which was enveloped by the golden light, was already rumbling. Brilliant lights and vibrant colors appeared before his eyes, enchanting and charming. The gentle beauty that came from the bottom of his heart was as if he was in a hot spring, and endless beauty was thrown into his arms. No matter how strong the Miracle Saint King was, he was still stunned. Quantero illusion. Lin Feng attacked. If it was Quantero's illusion released by the Saint Power, it would not be enough to threaten the Miracle Holy King. However, the realm power was different. This was already a nebulous state illusion attack, and it was even more powerful when the miracle Holy King did not have time to react. As the strongest human, the miracle Saint Kings must be very strong. However, Lin Feng was confident that even if he couldn't defeat the enemy, he could at least create an excellent opportunity for Li Poji. Swoosh! In the blink of an eye, Li Poji's tricolor crown jewels glowed brightly. Li Poji's reaction was quite fast. In the middle of the light, Emperor Min Wu's doppelganger appeared. He was holding the firmament sword, wearing a skeleton armor and a tricolor crown jewels. The primordial clone had arrived once again. The shocking power was a level higher than Miracle Saint King and Li Poji. That was a powerful cosmic system state attack. Even though it was just a clone's attack, its power couldn't be underestimated. Just the chi alone was shocking. Rumble. The ground shook, and Li Poji's eyes lit up. We won. Lin Feng knew very well that even if the Miracle Saint King was in his peak state, he wouldn't be able to take this attack, let alone the Miracle Saint King who was in Quantero illusion. He sighed. Luckily, the tricolored helmet was obtained by Brother Li. Otherwise, Blood Shadow would be dead for sure. He wouldn't even have the chance to escape. This move was too strong. Such a terrifying sword technique. Lin Feng felt the sword technique that made his heart tremble. The Miracle Saint King's sword intent descended from the heavens, and the Phantom Sky giant sword activated the sky aurora and fell down. The Miracle Saint King would lose for sure. However, the sky giant sword in the Miracle Saint King's hand seemed to have awakened at this moment. The giant sword hummed like a dragon's roar, and it instantly woke up the sleeping Miracle Saint King. A pair of hazy eyes suddenly became clear. The Miracle Saint King widened his eyes, and the power of the broken sun on his forehead was released. Pata! Pata! The ground cracked open, and the black haze was chased away. However, it was too late to defend now. The attack of Emperor Min Wu's clone was unstoppable. Everything was annihilated by this sword. Lin Feng, Li Poji, and Blood Shadow looked at the true cosmic system state attack and waited for the next moment. Art! The Miracle Saint King roared. The power of the sky giant sword was pushed to the extreme. Hua! Two blazing lights intersected and seemed to overlap. The two sky giant swords clashed, and the void became faint. Lin Feng frowned as he looked down. Great Emperor Min Wu's attack, which was supposed to be unstoppable, had suddenly disappeared amidst the crisscrossing lights. There was not even a single ripple. What was going on? Oh no, a clone. Lin Feng's heart shook. The doppelganger had a part of its consciousness, even if it was just a remnant of it. The Tricolor King's helmet was originally in existence used to suppress and seal the demon race, not humans. It was a mistake to let Emperor Min Wu kill himself. This attack not only made a huge mistake, but he missed a great opportunity. Chapter 1180. The Firmament Giant Sword was too strong, especially when it met a powerful being who could unleash its power. It once again proved that the number of treasures wasn't important, but the quality. A truly refined treasure was enough. The Miracle Saint King didn't use any other treasures. With just this sword, coupled with his bloodline and light cultivation, he was almost invincible. Lin Feng knew very well that despite his rapid increase in strength, his cultivation and foundation couldn't compare to this human super powerful being. In his normal state, he was even weaker than Blood Shadow in his demonic blood state. But he also had a super trump card now. Heaven-hating demon blood. Clank! The heaven-hating demon armor skeleton roared, and the armor flashed with black light. With Lin Feng's will, a red light flashed on his chest, and the dim armor instantly lit up. Activating the power of the demonic blood, Lin Feng's body was imbued with a mysterious and powerful power. The demonic armor covered his face, and killing intent was revealed. Crack! Crack! His body changed with the dark demon Tao. His bones, cells, and power were all changing. It was as though he had returned to the heaven-hating demon death bell region. Although it was his first time using it, Lin Feng had already experienced it personally. The terrifying increase in strength. Heaven-hating form. It could increase the strength of a cosmic system state demon by a few times. Using it on a star state martial artist, crack. Ha! Lin Feng gritted his teeth. The intense pain brought forth endless power. There was no limit to the increase in strength. Lin Feng's heart shook. It was hard to imagine that his power could increase to such a level. His body didn't seem to be his. Screech. The Miracle Saint King was the first to attack. He naturally wouldn't show mercy. In fact, the current situation wasn't good. The Miracle Saint King was very clear that if he didn't kill these three quickly, he would be in big trouble. The three humans who looked like demonic stars appeared out of nowhere. Each one was stronger than the other. Bang! The blood blade slashed down from the sky. The raging flames mixed with the dense darkness were like the stars in the night sky. The blood shadow who rested for a while attacked again. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Being injured would only stimulate his bloodthirst. Bang! Blood Shadow's body shook violently as he retreated backwards. Before the Miracle Saint King had time to adjust, Li Poji's ghostly figure, mixed with the origin of wind, attacked again. The sword pointed to the heart of the Miracle Saint King and connected with the Blood Shadow's attack. At this time, Lin Feng had finished his transformation. He clenched his fists, but there were not many changes on the outside. What changed was more inside his body. The surging power did not dissipate. The Dark Origin was like a berserk warrior. Their physical strength had reached an unimaginable level. The transformation of hateful heaven form was complete. Bang! Lin Feng made his move. His attacks arrived before his body. The twin spirits of Yu and Demon shot out like cannonballs, their power far surpassing their normal state. Miracle Saint King, who was fighting with Li Poji, activated his defense for the first time. A dragon-shaped scale shield appeared, blocking in front of the ghost and demon duo. Clang! A huge tremor resounded as a huge hole appeared on the dragon-shaped scale shield. Miracle Saint King was sent flying. Li Poji naturally wouldn't let go of this opportunity. The sword in his hand quickly pierced towards Miracle Saint King's throat. Miracle Saint King blocked with his sword, and a ghostly figure suddenly appeared behind him, shrouded in darkness. His aura was filled with killing intent. Chi, the blood shadow, struck his vital point. Bang! Miracle Saint King activated the power of brilliant light and rapidly defended like a spinning top. From having the advantage to being forced to defend, it only took an instant. Before he could calm down, a purple light flashed from afar. Bang! Miracle Saint King raised his sword to block, but he couldn't block that powerful force. Purple-eyed demonic death bell. Lin Feng was best at finding flaws. If the three of them couldn't even injure Miracle Saint King, then it would be too unreasonable. With a groan, Miracle Saint King forcefully swallowed back the blood. Shattered Scarlet Sun was pushed to the limit. That purple giant bell didn't give up and struck again. The Blood Shadow and Li Poji attacked Miracle Saint King from the front and back, one from the left and one from the right. The two of them were once opponents and knew each other well. They were no strangers to working together. The one who knew them the best was not their friend, but their enemy. Triple Evil Shadow. Lin Feng used his newly comprehended ultimate move. The sinful black blades, fighting intent, rumbled. The three figures floated outside and attacked Miracle Saint King one after another. They had the absolute advantage. Emperor Piercing Strike. Lin Feng exploded. The three demonic shadows attacked at the same time, and the strongest blade revealed its divine might. The Miracle Saint King was in a difficult situation, and even though he had raised his strongest defense, it was already too late. The three blades completely destroyed his defense. 3 times the attack, 3 times the range. Boom! Miracle Saint King was blasted into the sky, his injuries not light. Li Poji and the Blood Shadow followed closely, not giving Miracle Saint King any chance. At this moment, a dazzling light enveloped them. A shocking aura flashed. With a boom, it was as if the space had exploded. Miracle Saint King disappeared instantly. He had escaped. If he continued fighting, he would definitely die. Miracle Saint King wasn't afraid of death, but the pressure on his shoulders was too heavy. This was also why he didn't make a move, even though he had the confidence to defeat the Blood Shadow. He couldn't lose. Once he did, it would mean the collapse of humanity. He escaped. The Blood Shadow landed and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Where there's life, there's hope. Lipoji said, "It's the right choice." He has a life-saving treasure. Lin Feng returned to his normal state. The power of the hateful sky form was beyond his expectations. At least 10 times stronger. If Miracle Saint King didn't leave, he would die today. Not chasing anymore? The Blood Shadow looked at Lin Feng in confusion. "Do you know where he went?" Lin Feng asked. The Blood Shadow frowned slightly. "This should be a treasure with the ability to teleport," Li Poji said. "Probably." Lin Feng nodded. "He's the strongest human. He will definitely benefit a lot." There was no lack of treasures like the God Ruins and the Treasure Tower. After all, the demon race used to be a technological civilization. There weren't many abilities similar to space in the Star Realm, but the technological civilization was different. Just like the teleportation array, it seemed complicated but was actually very simple. "What should we do next?" Li Poji asked. Lin Feng pondered. "Same as usual. Blood Shadow will control the demon race army. I will continue to cultivate. As for Brotherly, you can do whatever you want. I want to try to track down Miracle Saint King first." Li Poji said. "Okay, he's injured now. Even if he finds out, he won't be able to catch up to you." Lin Feng said. "Let me know if there's any news." The Blood Shadow said heavily and left. Lin Feng and Li Poji looked at each other and smiled. The result was great. "Then, let's split up here," Li Poji said. "All right." Lin Feng's eyes flashed as he watched the two of them leave. He was indeed not worried about the Miracle Saint King escaping. The monk could run, but the temple could not. He could escape once, but he could not escape a second time. Soon, he would become a cosmic system state. Chapter 1181. Lin Feng returned to the heaven-hating Demon Death Bell region. He was very satisfied with his current combat strength. Even if it was a one-on-one battle, he was confident that he could defeat the Miracle Holy King. In fact, Lin Feng was very confident when he returned to Nemo Planet this time. There were only 2 reasons for his return. The first was that the Devil Star had basically cleared all obstacles. The first thing he wanted to do was to find the culprit behind Earth's extinction and kill him. Break through to the cosmic system state as soon as possible, settle planet Nemo, and return to Earth. Lin Feng had never forgotten his mission. There were many things waiting to be done on Earth after the Great Extinction. Coupled with the fact that Earth was on the verge of exploding and needed to be repaired, he shouldered a lot of pressure. The situation was getting clearer and clearer. Lin Feng took out the Heaven Heart Crystal Coffin. This was a cosmic system state treasure he got from sacrificing an ancient treasure. He lent it to Li Poji, and the effect was obvious. Now it was time to use it himself. "Pa!" Lin Feng sat cross-legged. He felt a piercing coldness, but it was unusually comfortable. An invisible energy enveloped the spirit of wisdom. He seemed to be able to feel the energy flowing slowly in the 3rd meridian diagram. The sleeping giant beast in the Origin Star realm was overjoyed and shook continuously. Heart force. All things are inseparable from the heart. Lin Feng had deep attainments in the way of ancient martial arts, so he naturally knew this. The heart could accommodate all things, especially Buddhism, which focused more on cultivating the heart. Taoism was also the same. The heart in cultivation referred to the soul of wisdom, which was hidden in the deepest part of the body. Everything was inseparable from it. Heart force is like the 7 emotions and 6 desires. It seems tangible, but it's invisible. You can't see it, but you can feel it. The reason he didn't continue to strive for the cosmic system state was that he had benefited a lot from watching the Miracle Divine King's battle with Li Poji. The sword heart that he had been missing for a long time had appeared. It was like a seed was planted in his heart. What he needed to do now was to let it sprout and grow. That was his reward. The Miracle Divine King lost. A piece of news that came out of nowhere was like a bomb that was thrown into the human world in the demon race camp. Everyone was in a state of panic, and the morale of the Alliance was low. Don't be dumb. This must be fake news. How can the Miracle Divine king lose. That's right, and the source of the news is completely unknown. It must be the news that the demons are on holiday. They want to shake our morale and disintegrate the alliance. I don't think that's necessarily the case. This news has already spread through the Miracle Garden, and I've heard that the 10 demonic beast emperors have personally sent heavenly monsters to question him. From beginning to end, have you seen the Miracle Saint King appear? No matter what, he should show himself and not let the rumors fester. What if it's true? What should we do then? What else can we do? An uneasy atmosphere spread throughout the human camp. The news spread wider and wider, but the Miracle Saint King still didn't come out to refute the rumors, which was equivalent to tacit agreement. On the other side, the Devil race launched a strong counterattack, especially the human-demon alliance that was attacking the Black Demon prison. They were crazily slaughtered by the Devil race and suffered a crushing defeat. A demon emperor of the demon race was killed. Their morale plummeted. Blood Shadow was not stupid. On one hand, he was luring the snake out of its hole. On the other hand, he was taking the opportunity to attack the humans. The other demon army charged at the Miracle Garden. They hated humans the most. Without the Miracle Sacred King, the Miracle Garden still had the support of the Tian and Mo5 clans. They could fight against the demons, but the momentum they had gathered before had completely disappeared. The scales of victory began to tilt once again. Rumble. The Origin Star realm shook again and again. Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. The sinful black saber in his hand seemed to have sensed its master's power and kept shaking. In the Skyheart crystal coffin, Lin Feng's power rose to another level. The improvement of his heart force drove everything. Coupled with the fact that his saber heart was already on the verge of a breakthrough, the advancement came naturally. 6th-tier saber heart. Lin Feng was very satisfied. His saber technique had finally reached the threshold of a true top-notch stellar stage expert. In just 10 days of cultivation, his combat power had increased tremendously. The difference between a 6th-tier saber heart and a 5th-tier saber heart was huge. In addition, he had been comprehending the third strike of the demonic 3-hit strike while improving his heart force. His current combat power was even stronger than when he fought the Miracle Saint King 10 days ago. His body was covered in darkness. Lin Feng didn't stop and continued to cultivate. In addition to the improvement of his saber heart, he also had another cultivation that was close to transforming. The path of Dark Demon. Of the 6 paths of darkness, only his path of dark matter had reached the 4th tier, which was the limit of the 4th tier Origin Star realm. Now, he had another cultivation that was infinitely close to the 4th tier Origin Star realm. It was the path of Dark Demon that he had the strongest aptitude for among the 6 paths of darkness. The path of darkness was the understanding and comprehension of the great path of origin. Although Lin Feng still couldn't completely understand the path of Dark Demon in the Heaven Hatred form, he had successfully used it after fusing it with his demonic blood. It was like an apprentice following a saber grandmaster. Even if he only learned a little, it was already extraordinary. 1/10th, no, 100th, I will be able to reach the 4th tier. Lin Feng was very clear. His mind clearly remembered what he felt at that time, and his body had a perfect memory. Unlike origin energy, which needed to be absorbed bit by bit, if one could comprehend the path of origin, even if it was only for an instant, 1 minute, 1 second, one could directly improve. Lin Feng was like that now. He had found the key to a breakthrough. All he lacked was continuous comprehension. One day, he would have a perfect transformation. Time passed day by day. Li Poji did not directly participate in the war between the demon race and the human race. Instead, he searched everywhere for traces of the Miracle Saint King. However, the injured Miracle Saint King seemed to have evaporated into thin air. He had almost searched the entire Nirvana world. Li Poji was extremely patient. He had even searched the Black Demon Prison, the Ruin World, and the Treasure Pagoda. There were only 2 places left among the 6 great danger lands. The Gate of Heaven's Wrath. Li Poji's figure was like the wind, entering in an instant. His aura spread out as he searched for the whereabouts of the Miracle Saint King. This abandoned barbarian land had a different feeling. It was a battlefield, a bloody battlefield, but at this moment it was particularly quiet. Strange, isn't the gate of heaven's wrath the most intense place? Lipoji wondered. This was the area where the demon race and the demon race fought. Countless experts of the demon race and the demon race would come here to prove themselves or to hone themselves. But at this moment, it was inexplicably quiet. It was an empty valley, as if all life had been sucked away by something. Is it because of the war? Lipoji whispered. The deeper he went, the stranger he felt. The gate of heaven's wrath was full of indescribable strangeness. Lipoji suddenly stopped. Shouldn't the heaven's wrath reincarnation pagoda be in front? Why is it gone? Lipoji was taken aback. Suddenly, he felt a chill run down his spine, and his expression changed. To be continued. Chapter 1182. Heart force could not directly affect one's comprehension ability. However, it could make a warrior more focused and serious. Their comprehension of the Tao of origin would be deeper and more direct. Just like how heart force could not directly activate the heaven's eye cultivation, heart force was more like a foundational strength. Like the body, it was an indispensable part of a warrior. It was formless and powerful. The easiest way to determine a warrior's heart force was willpower. Willpower was not heart force, but it was a direct manifestation of heart force. Warriors with strong willpower would definitely have strong heart force. Lin Feng was one of them. The heaven's heart crystal coffin increased his heart force by a steady amount. It was slow and long-term. Lin Feng's influence was also gradually taking effect. In 10 days, he had comprehended the 6-tier saber heart. It was more of a cumulative breakthrough. Comprehending the Tao of darkness demon took a lot longer. After a month of comprehension, there was no effect at all. However, dripping water could penetrate stone. It was like a blacksmith striking a boulder. The first 100 strikes did not shatter it. The 101st strike only shattered it. However, this did not mean that the first 100 strikes were useless. Whoosh! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. A blood-red light flashed. The 4th level of the Path of Dark Devil was on par with the Path of Dark Matter. However, the difference between the Path of Dark Devil and the Path of Dark Matter was that the comprehension of the Path of Dark Devil came from a heart. The complete comprehension of the Path of Dark Devil was like the construction of a sturdy house. And this was just the beginning. The Tao of Darkness demon contained in the heaven-hatred form is far more than this. Lin Feng knew very well that he had only scratched the surface. 1%, no, it might not even be 1,000th. He had only found 1 point in the Tao of Darkness demon and was able to analyze and comprehend it. However, this was already very terrifying. It was like entering a treasure mountain. Even a small item was priceless. As long as the Origin Star realm reaches the 5th tier, I will definitely be able to comprehend the Tao of Darkness demon to the 5th tier in a short time. Lin Feng was very certain. The improvement of the Tao of Darkness demon meant that his control of the heaven-hatred form would be stronger. If I use the heaven-hatred form again, I will definitely improve more than last time. Lin Feng had seen the heaven-hatred demon race use it. The heaven-hatred form was a bloodline talent. It depended on one's bloodline and talent. The talent was the Tao of Darkness and the Tao of Darkness demon. Even if his strength reached the cosmic system level, the heaven-hatred form would still be a powerful bloodline talent. There was no point in improving other aspects now. Focusing on reaching the cosmic system state was the right path. I will definitely surpass it in 3 months at most. Lin Feng put away the sky heart crystal coffin. He didn't start cultivating immediately because he had promised Blood Shadow and Lipoji that they would meet every half a month. But this time, it took him a whole month to comprehend the Tao of Dark Demon. Right now, it was time to meet up with them. Nothing. Lin Feng quickly searched Death Knell Cemetery. Death. Lin Feng knew the reason without thinking. Blood Shadow's location was most likely exposed. When the Demon Star was no longer a secret, the humans wouldn't gather. To Blood Shadow, it didn't matter even if he was exposed. After all, the demon race had the upper hand. The news of Miracle Divine King's defeat had already spread. Miracle Divine King still hadn't appeared. The morale of the humans was low. Morale was very important in a war. The demon race had the advantage in numbers, but they were at a disadvantage in other aspects. Lin Feng knew very well that as long as there were no major accidents, the situation on planet Nemo was under his control. But let's not think too much. We will talk about it after everything is settled. Lin Feng left the Death Knell graveyard. It was destroyed. Lin Feng looked at the ruins outside the Death Knell graveyard. The base of the Glory Alliance was gone. Even the teleportation formation was destroyed. Clearly, it was done by the demon race. Without the teleportation formation, it would take a long time to return to the human territory from the Death Knell graveyard. He planned to return to the 7th domain first, but now, let's go to the Black Demon prison first. Lin Feng wasn't worried about the 7th domain because Blood Shadow had promised him that he wouldn't attack the human territory other than the Miracle Garden. He also wouldn't let the demon race massacre the cities. They were on the same side. Lin Feng trusted Blood Shadow a lot for now. Whoosh! Lin Feng rushed forward. The demon race's territory was the Black Demon prison, followed by the Death Knell graveyard. Therefore, the two forbidden lands were very close to each other. The one slightly further away was the Gate of Heaven's Wrath. The other forbidden lands were like the two ends of the Nirvana world. One side was the demon race, the other side was the human race. He could travel alone. Lin Feng didn't bring Death Anniversary. He could travel alone and save time by traveling at full speed. Although it was difficult to tell the direction in the Black Demon prison, that was for ordinary warriors. With Lin Feng's realm power that surpassed the level of Planet Nemo, he could go anywhere. As soon as he entered the Black Demon prison, Lin Feng knew the route. Like a ray of light in the night, he quickly entered. It's very quiet. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Normally, there should be many human and demon race experts in the Black Demon prison. However, there weren't any at the moment. It felt like the calm before the storm. Whoosh! The realm power sensed Blood Shadow's location. Lin Feng went straight to the forbidden land in the depths of the Black Demon prison. Whoosh! Blood Shadow opened his eyes and disappeared in a flash. Rushing out of the closed cultivation room, a light shadow streaked across the distance like a meteor and landed on the ground. It was Lin Feng. Behind him, several dark lights shot toward him like meteors. It was the Blood Axe Emperor and the others. Lin Feng's sudden intrusion naturally alarmed the demon race experts. He's on our side. Go back. Blood Shadow's voice suddenly rang out. Yes, Supreme. Although the Blood Axe Emperor and the others were a little confused, they obeyed Blood Shadow's orders and quickly retreated, leaving Lin Feng and Blood Shadow alone. I'm late this time, Blood Shadow said. Lin Feng smiled. It doesn't matter whether I'm late or not. Blood Shadow shook his head. The Miracle Saint King must be hiding in a corner to recover or even improve his battle strength. The demon race has been recuperating for many years and is strong. The demon race doesn't have the upper hand. Lin Feng said, You and Brotherly should be more than enough. Li Poji didn't show up at the appointed time 10 days ago. There's no news from him until now. He must have encountered something. Let's wait for a while. Lin Feng said. Blood Shadow nodded. Soon, the two of them talked about what happened in the past month. It was basically the same as Lin Feng's guess. The key point was that Blood Shadow had been holding back. He didn't show up before Li Poji found the Miracle Saint King. If you're willing to help me, the Nemo planet will soon be pacified. Blood Shadow's eyes looked straight. I only promised to help you get rid of the Miracle Saint King. Lin Feng smiled and then turned to leave. Don't worry, it won't be a problem. Their eyes flashed. Although they were allies, they had their own plans. Chapter 1183. Blood Shadow wasn't Li Poji, so Lin Feng never let down his guard against him. This was an extremely shrewd cultivator. You would never be able to guess what he was thinking. Just like in the 33 continents, the hatred between them was very deep. He could have easily killed him, but he didn't. It was the same this time. Whether he was sincerely helping him or just using him was still unknown. Regardless, Lin Feng believed in himself more. As long as I'm strong enough, I will have the absolute initiative. Lin Feng returned to the Death Knell graveyard. The war was gradually heating up, and there would be a long period of killing. This period of time was the best buffer for him to complete the final transformation. Cosmic System State. Heaven-hating demon death knell region. Lin Feng entered the final sprint. He didn't need to think too much. The time to return to Earth was getting closer and closer. This time, unless the situation changed, he wouldn't leave. The outside world was being watched by Death Anniversary and Demon Emperor, so he didn't need to worry. He had all the keys to break through to the Cosmic System State. Lin Feng used 3-star universe crystals to improve rapidly. He was 100% confident that he could reach the Cosmic System State within 3 months. This place is very secluded, and it's very beneficial for the Tyrant Dragon Avatar. It's a pity. Lin Feng felt it was a pity. The Tyrant Dragon Avatar could cultivate outside the third ring, but it was wearing skeleton armor. Once it appeared, it would cause the other 2 ancient treasures to resonate. Brotherly was fine, but the Miracle Divine King couldn't. If the Miracle Divine King knows that all 3 ancient treasures have appeared, he can easily deduce that the seal has disappeared. At that time, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Could it be? It's been more than a month. With Brotherly's searching ability, the Miracle Divine King should be able to find him even if he hides at the end of the world. However, there's still no news. Lin Feng's face instantly became serious. Could it be that the Miracle Divine King already knows about the ancient treasure that suppressed the seal? Thud! Lin Feng's heart shook. The Miracle Garden was left behind by Great Emperor Minwu. The Miracle Saint King might know which ancient treasure is sealing it. Lin Feng shivered inwardly. The ancient texts might have clearly recorded the 3 ancient treasures. The Miracle Saint King's huge sword was an offensive weapon, and his skeleton armor was a defensive battle armor. Only Brother Li's tricolored king helmet was the true suppressive treasure. Therefore, after the Miracle Saint King fought with Li Poji, he should have already guessed it. Not good, Lin Feng thought. Thinking about it carefully, he even contacted the Death Anniversary to understand the humans' movements. Very soon, the news hasn't spread. Lin Feng thought that even if the Miracle Saint King knew about this, he wouldn't spread the news. Maybe I'm just worrying for nothing. Although he said that, he still had to be on guard. If the Miracle Saint King really left planet Nemo, the distance between the planets is very long. Even if I wanted to go to Earth, I'm afraid it would take more than a month. With the Miracle Saint King's speed, it would take at least 3 months to reach Earth from here. Lin Feng pursed his lips tightly. He was inexplicably worried. After all, not only the Miracle Saint King, but even Brotherly didn't have any news. If I release my avatar, the 3 ancient treasures will definitely sense it. Then, the secret of the seal will be revealed to the public. Lin Feng didn't dare to take this risk. If his guess was wrong, and the Miracle Saint King was still on planet Nemo, he would be opening a path for him. But I can't sense it, but Brotherly should be able to sense it. Lin Feng took a deep breath. There was no point in thinking too much. He could only take 1 step at a time. Cultivate. Compared to his previous calmness, Lin Feng felt more pressure. The pressure of the Miracle Saint King and Li Poji disappearing at the same time condensed in his heart. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't worried, but to Lin Feng, this would only stimulate him to cultivate faster. Step by step, Lin Feng was getting closer to the Cosmic System State. Soon, a month had passed. From the Death Anniversary and Demon Emperor, he knew that the demon race had a certain advantage. If it wasn't for the help of the 10 demon emperors, even the Miracle Garden would be destroyed. Although the Blood Shadow still didn't take the initiative to attack, the Blood Axe Emperor and Qi Jing Emperor had already turned the Nirvana world upside down. Protect Manzi well. Lin Feng only had one request for the Death Anniversary. It was easy to let a top-tier assassin assassinate him. Protecting him wasn't difficult either. With the Death Anniversary's power, even the 5 demon emperors might not be able to capture him. The faster cultivation speed allowed Lin Feng to get closer to the Cosmic System State. Previously, he had estimated that it would take him 3 months, but now it was about 2.5 months. However, there was still 1.5 months left. It was quite long. If the Miracle Saint King has really discovered the secret of the seal and left after I defeated him 2 months ago, I'm afraid He's very close to Earth now. Lin Feng took a deep breath. His face was tense. He didn't dare to take the risk because the price of losing was too high. With the miracle Saint King's power, he alone was comparable to the sum of countless extinctions. In his eyes, Earth was no different from an ant. Lin Feng released the T-Rex clone. He had no choice. If he couldn't sense the miracle Saint King, he had to return to Earth as soon as possible. He could only leave Nemo Planet to the Blood Shadow and Lipoji. No matter what, the safety of Earth came first. Swoosh, swoosh. He immersed his consciousness, and the skeleton armor released its power. Pung. Lin Feng's heart moved. He instantly felt a powerful force. His eyes lit up as he looked into the distance. It's brotherly. It wasn't far from him. Lin Feng felt relieved when he felt the three-colored helmet, but soon he was worried again. No, still no. The T-Rex clone roared furiously. The skeleton armor covered its huge body, but it couldn't sense the miracle Saint King's huge sword. It was as though it disappeared into thin air. Lin Feng sensed it again and again, but he was disappointed again and again. He guessed it right. Damn it. Lin Feng clenched his fists as his heart sank. There were only two possibilities. First, the miracle Holy King had the ability to hide the aura of an ancient treasure, just like himself. Second, he had already left Planet Nemo. Therefore, no matter what the rumors were, he did not appear again when he saw that the miracle garden was in danger. The first possibility was less than 20%. Everyone flies away when disaster strikes. Lin Feng murmured. Although he didn't agree with the miracle Saint King's actions, his choice wasn't wrong. After 10,000 years of cultivation, the miracle Saint King's power had reached a certain level. Unless he broke through to the cosmic system state, it would be difficult for him to improve further. The defeat 2 months ago made him see the reality. He and the humans would lose this war for sure. Therefore, he chose to leave quietly. If the news of the seal spread, it wouldn't benefit him at all. As the leader of the humans, he would easily become the target of public criticism. You can't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes heroes are often selfish. Chapter 1184. At the very most, 2 months and 10 days have passed. Lin Feng remembered clearly. Even if he knew the shortest route from Planet Nemo to Earth and everything went smoothly, it would take at least 3 months with the miracle Divine King's speed. Although that was the case, it was quite a headache because there were only 20 days left. It wasn't enough to reach the cosmic system state. He could ask Ho to help him return to the Great Wall and then return to Earth, but others couldn't. There's no choice. I can only leave this place to brotherly. Lin Feng had made up his mind. The miracle Divine King could abandon his beloved people, but he couldn't. Returning to Earth was his only choice. Unless he could find and kill the miracle Divine King, he wouldn't return to Planet Nemo in a short time. There was always a trade-off. But before returning, he needed to explain everything to Blood Shadow and Brotherly. There had to be an end. Roar! The tyrant dragon clone howled madly. Cultivating here was far better than cultivating in the 10,000 origin mustard stone. In particular, the heaven-hating devil funeral bell was the strongest of the 12 devil bells, and it was the best choice for the tyrant dragon clone, whose forte lay in his physical body. The stronger one's body is, the more it can withstand, Lin Feng remarked. Sensing that the cultivation of his clone was far more effective than that of his main body, Lin Feng was impressed. Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes lit up and his eyebrows rose slightly. He seemed to have forgotten something. Heaven-hating form. The heaven-hating form released by the demonic blood doesn't necessarily have to be used in battle. A new path appeared in front of him. It was like the opening of light in the darkness. The stronger the body, the more it could withstand and the greater the improvement. Because the energy of the cosmic crystals was endless, this was an obvious enhancement process. Indeed, normally, the enhancement wouldn't be much, but the heaven-hating form could increase one's combat power tenfold. Just the body alone was several times stronger. The estimated breakthrough time of 1.5 months might be shortened by a lot. A lot. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Instantly, The heaven-hating demon armor roared ferociously. The demonic blood fused with his body, and he activated the heaven-hating form. He would know once he tried. His body changed greatly. Lin Feng could clearly feel the display of the heaven-hatred form. This time, it was even stronger than when he fought with the miracle Saint King. After his body reached its limit, he broke through once again. This kind of increase in strength was like a nightmare, causing people to feel fear. This is the strengthening effect of the fourth level of the Tao of Darkness. Lin Feng felt very fortunate. Because his dark demon Tao had reached level 4, his hate heaven form had become even stronger, and his endurance had increased. Step by step, Lin Feng's blood was boiling. He was getting closer and closer to the first ring, and his endurance was comparable to a cosmic system state. While with the massive consumption of 3-star universe crystals, Lin Feng had taken half a step into the first ring. His cultivation speed had a huge breakthrough, at least 3 times. Lin Feng laughed heartily in his heart. At this moment, he was even more focused. His other foot also stepped into the first ring. The sound of the demonic death knell instantly became like a storm descending. It could not be underestimated at all. Although he could endure it, the slightest carelessness would cause him to lose all his strength and suffer heavy injuries. It was rather dangerous to cultivate here. However, he could not care about that now. The realm power had completely condensed. Lin Feng was completely immersed in it. Although this cultivation state was very dangerous, he was very sure. I can definitely endure it. Lin Feng's veins were bulging. His current state was just like the T-Rex clone outside. He had entered an extreme state of cultivation. Originally, he still needed 1.5 months, but now he did not need to. In just one day, Lin Feng was very sure that he only needed 10 days to complete the transformation and breakthrough to the cosmic system state. The miracle Holy King could not possibly reach Earth in 3 months. In other words, he still had 20 days of absolute safety. Deducting the 10 days of cultivation, he still had 10 full days. It's enough. Lin Feng was very certain. 10 days was enough to pacify Planet Nemo and carry out everything perfectly according to his plan. In fact, he did not agree with Blood Shadow's plan. However, the world was just that cruel. Only with enough strength could one change everything. The T-Rex clone was moved. He sensed that Brother Li's position did not seem to have moved. It was very strange. Is he injured or epiphany cultivation? Lin Feng didn't care too much. After all, it was too normal for martial artists to stay in the same place. Wasn't he the same right now? Perhaps Brother Li also guessed that the miracle Holy King left. The T-Rex clone's eyes flashed. Then it started cultivating again. In this place, its cultivation speed was even faster than the main bodies. The Tyrant Dragon Avatar's astonishing physical fitness, coupled with its low base power, allowed it to grow at an astonishing speed, as if it were riding a roller coaster. It charged straight for the ancient beasts. 5th day, 7th day, 9th day. Cultivation time passed very quickly. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and used his shocking willpower to force the impossible to become possible. He pushed his power closer to the limit bit by bit. It was even faster than the expected 10 days. It was a full day faster. His body was slowly saturated. It was like a basin of overflowing water that could not be filled anymore. His power finally reached the limit. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief but didn't stop. Everything was ready. The origin star world kept shaking. The soul of the Earth was about to break through the bottleneck. Perfect integration. The remote piece star spun rapidly, turning into a shocking whirlpool. Endless energy was absorbed from the outside world and converted into the origin star world. Everything in a massive origin star realm was changing as the spiritual range exceeded 100,000 times. The soul of the Earth was the origin and center of the origin star world. The remote P star would change the entire origin star world. Light, darkness, lightning. This was a change in form, a fundamental change. The original origin star world was a comprehensive existence that contained everything. It was like a mini-universe. But as the remote piece star spun rapidly, the remote piece Saint Chi and the soul of the Earth combined and changed the entire origin star world. Open up. A new origin star world, a new mini-universe. If the origin star world was a piece of white paper, it was now dyed with the three colors of light, darkness, and lightning. It was like a person who used to divide his energy equally to study, but now put 99% of his energy into light, darkness, and lightning. At the same time, the soul of the Earth was changing, from the outside to the inside. In a remote peace origin star world, cultivation will be faster and stronger. Efficiency will be better. Comprehension and senses will rise to a new level. After breaking through the shackles, everything would change. The nebula-level Great Tao would start from the Tao of the origin and climb up. His combat power would rise to a higher level. The brand new origin energy didn't need to be absorbed from the outside world anymore. It already existed in the remote peace origin star world. Together with the metamorphosis of his life force and the strengthening of his body, just the breakthrough of the nebula-level Great Tao had already raised his combat power to a shocking level. If he used the heaven-hatred form, there was only one word to describe it: invincible. To be continued. Chapter 1185. Lin Feng did not leave immediately. On one hand, he still needed to absorb enough energy after the breakthrough to stabilize the transformed origin astral boundary and convert it into sufficient energy for the Taiyu origin astral boundary. On the other hand, the T-Rex clone had reached a critical juncture and was only one step away from transforming into a primordial beast. It was equivalent to humans entering the grand nirvana stage. To the vast majority of ferocious beasts, this step was very difficult. The reason for that was because their souls were not strong enough. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was no exception. This ferocious beast with a terrifyingly strong body possessed a fatal weakness. That is, its intelligence was much lower than that of ordinary ferocious beasts. Heaven was always fair. There would always be a shortcoming. However, the T-Rex clone was different. Its soul was split from Lin Feng's original body and fused with the true Eye's holy power and the T-Rex's original soul. Not to mention controlling this strong body, even cultivating Saint energy would be a piece of cake for him. It was like the core of a machine that had been completely transformed. Coupled with the nourishment of tens of thousands of origin mustard stones, the T-Rex clone soul was stronger than human holy power cultivators of the same level, even though it was only a small part of Lin Feng's original body. With a strong soul, the T-Rex clone's bloodline awakened twice and was close to a breakthrough. In just an instant, whoosh! A bright light shone and the earth shook. The T-Rex clone was truly the darling of the earth. The T-Rex clone's earth potential was terrifying, even surpassing the earth potential of other primordial beasts after their third awakening. Even the dark potential, which it was not good at, was almost the same as when Lin Feng had just broken through. Complemented by his powerful physical body, he was already comparable to an ordinary high-grade, ancient ferocious beast, even though he had just broken through. Compared to its strengths, its weaknesses were not worth mentioning. If I cultivate to the same level, I'm afraid even my original body will have to stand aside. Lin Feng smiled. The Tyrannosaurus Rex avatar was his trump card. He could predict that when they entered the Milky Way, the avatar would be able to turn the clouds and rain with a flip of his hand, displaying an invincible Tyrannosaurus state. That day would not be too far away. 3 days later, the devil funeral bell rang again, but there was no one there. Lin Feng stepped out of the funeral bell graveyard alone. Now that he was in the nebula state, his strength was enough to sweep across the Nemo planet. There was no need to care about anyone, and there was no need to accommodate anyone. From merging with Planet Nemo to becoming completely independent of Planet Nemo, Lin Feng was very clear that he was now standing on Planet Nemo. Life level, strength level. There are still 8 days left. Lin Feng's thoughts were clear as he smiled. To him, these 8 days were enough. Brotherly, you've been standing in the same place all this while. He should be in the gate of heaven's wrath of the 6 great forbidden lands. Let's go take a look at him first. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. In an instant, he turned into a streak of black light and disappeared. Lin Feng had just stepped out of the death knell graveyard when he received the news of his death anniversary. Almost at the same time, Demon Eye Emperor also sent a message. A top-tier primordial divine beast. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He closed his eyes and clearly sensed the consciousness image sent over by his death anniversary. In the Black Demon Prison, there was a huge monster covered in earthy green armor in the shape of a black tortoise. On its body was an extremely thick giant python. The bloodline of the black tortoise. Lin Feng was shocked. Judging from its appearance, it was slightly different from the real black tortoise. However, it was very similar, which was enough to prove the purity of its bloodline. There is a huge difference between the purity of the bloodline and the purity of the bloodline. This top-tier primordial divine beast was very powerful. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook. As the ancestor of the earth, the black tortoise, this top-tier primordial divine beast was not to be outdone. Its control of the earth was far beyond a limit, and it was at least a level 4 cultivation. Every move it made was filled with the unparalleled power of the earth. The earth python on its back was also very powerful, and its attack power was even more powerful. Under its leadership, the demon race experts were unstoppable. Even someone as strong as the Phantom Emperor was severely injured before he could even get close to it. At this time, the Blood Axe Emperor and the Qijing Emperor were attacking the human miracle garden, leaving the Black Devil Prison with no defense. The descendant of the Black Tortoise, the Black Earth Turtle, Lin Feng, said secretly. From the Demon Eye Emperor, he learned about this top-level mythical beast. It was a top-level ancient mythical beast that had once caused an earthquake on Nemo Planet. Although it was still far from a true, ancient mythical beast with a gifted bloodline, the Black Earth Turtle was already very powerful. It was once regarded as a god by the Demon Clan. With the bloodline of the Black Tortoise, its earth aptitude and cultivation are far superior to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Lin Feng said. Therefore, under the lead of the Black Earth Turtle, the demon experts were fearless. They madly charged into the Black Demon Prison in an attempt to reverse the situation. That's good. Let's dampen the spirit of the demon race. Lin Feng smiled. Although the sudden appearance of the Black Earth Turtle was unexpected, its appearance could not change anything. Even if it was stronger than the Miracle Saint King, the current him was enough to sweep away all obstacles. Swoosh! Lin Feng sped up and went straight for the gate of Heaven's Wrath. He frowned slightly. He sensed that Brother Li had not moved at all. It was very strange. Did something happen? The image of the Black Earth Turtle suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's mind, and his heart trembled. He stepped in. Following the direction of his senses, Lin Feng entered the gate of Heaven's Wrath. The 6 most dangerous lands were no longer a secret to him. This was a region that restricted stellar-level cultivators, but for a nebula-level cultivator, it was like standing on top of a maze and overlooking everything. No matter what dangers or restrictions there were, they could be seen clearly. Soon, Lin Feng entered the depths. He was getting closer and closer to Brother Li's location. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Lin Feng saw a pile of ruins piled high, like a mountain. Lin Feng's expression froze. This should be the location of the Heaven's Wrath Reincarnation Pagoda. However, other than this pile of ruins, he couldn't see anything else. The Tyrant Dragon clone appeared instantly, and the skeleton armor quickly sensed it. Lin Feng looked at the pile of ruins. The resonance of the ancient treasure came from the bottom of the ruins. Not good, Lin Feng thought. In an instant, he released his realm power, and the ruins exploded like a bomb. The earth and rocks collapsed. Lin Feng turned into a dark shadow and shot out like a chestnut from the fire. He held a dying figure with both hands. A tricolored halo surrounded him. It was Li Poji. At this moment, his face was pale, and his aura was extremely weak. He was seriously injured. If it wasn't for the protection of the tricolored helmet, he would have been dead. Lin Feng frowned. In an instant, He used the universe crystal to repair Lipoji's body and fed him sacred fruits like sugar pills. After a short period of emergency treatment, Lipoji finally recovered a little and opened his eyes weakly. "Brother Li, what happened?" Lin Feng hastily asked. "It's him," Lipoji said softly. His weak face froze. The descendant of the black tortoise, the black earth turtle. Chapter 1186. Soon, Lin Feng learned what happened. The earth tortoise had been cultivating with the help of the Heaven's Wrath Reincarnation Tower. Among the 4 divine beasts, the black tortoise had the longest lifespan, and so did its descendants. Using a method similar to the tortoise breath could greatly prolong their lifespan and cultivate independently. That was until Lipoji arrived and broke the silence. The earth tortoise was in a tortoise breath, but at the same time, it kept a self-conscious vigilance. When the enemy was strong enough to threaten it, it would wake up. The limit of this threat was the cosmic system state. In the following battle, Lipoji tried his best, but he couldn't defeat this 10-million-year-old monster. Novel. Squinting eyes face. Novel, he had no chance of winning if he couldn't break its shell defense. With the constant attacks of the earth python, Lipoji was finally attacked. Fortunately, he had the tricolor king helmet to protect him. Master once told me that the earth tortoise was the ancestor of the demon race. If it were alive, it would be stronger than a cosmic system state. Lipoji said, "There are different bloodlines of divine beasts. The earth tortoise mutated once, but it didn't go in the wrong direction. Instead, it activated its hidden bloodline. At that time, it was besieged by the heavenly beasts and the demons." The heavenly beasts besieged the divine beast? Lin Feng was dazed. Lipoji said, "The heavenly demons who walk the path of transformation are different from the divine beasts and ferocious beasts who walk the path of heaven. What's more, it's not uncommon for members of the same race to commit suicide. The reason why the black turtle is so similar to the black tortoise is that it obtained the black tortoise's Big Dipper seal by chance." "What's the black tortoise heavenly wind seal?" Lin Feng was confused. Lipoji said, "According to ancient records, at the beginning of the world, 36 celestial astral beasts and 72 earthly beasts were born. All the divine beasts and ancient divine beasts today are the descendants of these 108 celestial astral beasts and earthly beasts. The black tortoise is one of them." Lin Feng pondered. "As for what the black tortoise heavenly wind seal is..." Lipoji suddenly stopped. "Yes." Lin Feng was curious. "I'm not sure either." Lipoji smiled weakly. Lin Feng was speechless. Lipoji continued, "It is said that it is very powerful, but I don't know what it is. Anyway, all the experts of the monster race and demon race were mobilized, but none of them could break its shell. Instead, it took advantage of the chaos and killed many demon and demon emperors. After that, the earth octopus turtle became famous." Lin Feng nodded. "What did it do after it became famous?" "I didn't do anything." Lipoji said, "Divine beasts are different from ferocious beasts. Divine beasts are born to dislike killing. Their temperament is relatively simple and docile, and they advocate nature. Therefore, even though they became famous in one battle, the earth mystery turtle was still very low-key. Plus, no one could do anything to it, so it was gradually forgotten over time. I thought it already died of old age. I didn't expect it to still be alive." Lipoji narrowed his eyes. "Brother Lin, you must be careful. This earth occult turtle is very powerful. Don't worry, I know what to do." Lin Feng patted Lipoji's shoulder and said, "Stay here and recuperate. We'll be able to return to Earth soon." Lipoji was stunned. "Return to Earth, Brother Lin?" Lin Feng smiled slightly. Without saying much, he sped away like a gust of wind, leaving the gate of Heaven's Wrath. He came and went as he pleased. The 6 forbidden lands were nothing to Lin Feng, and there was not much danger. On the contrary, Lin Feng was quite interested in the earth octopus turtle that Lipoji had mentioned. Right now, this old turtle with a lifespan of tens of millions of years was heading toward the Black Demon prison. With it, the demon race would be like holding a submachine gun and rushing toward ordinary people. Its strength was far more terrifying than that of the miracle Holy King. Its age alone was already shocking. Even if a human martial artist was in the breaking life stage, living up to 1,000,000 years was probably the limit. However, the Earth octopus turtle was already more than 10 million years old. Although divine beasts did not like killing, whether they liked it or not was one thing, and whether they would do it or not was another. The Earth octopus turtle was not stupid. At the moment of life and death, as long as the demon race moved it with emotion and reason, it would not be difficult to persuade it. If the demon race ruled the Nemo star, it would really have a place to settle down. Black tortoise, heavenly dipper seal. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. He really wanted to know what this so-called black tortoise heavenly dipper seal was. It should be a good thing. Otherwise, how could it have attracted the jealousy of the demon and demon races thousands of years ago? However, no one could take away this black tortoise heavenly dipper seal thousands of years ago, so it was just right for him to leave it for now. It is no match for me. Lin Feng was very clear. He did not underestimate the Earth octopus turtle, but he also did not think too highly of it. Going straight to the Black Demon Prison, although Lin Feng really wanted to return to the human world, he was closer to the Black Demon Prison now. He would have to go to both places sooner or later, so there was no need to choose before. Stepping into the Black Demon Prison, what entered his sight was an endless black haze that covered all the light. This was the headquarters of the demon race, a nightmare for both the human and demon races. Countless human experts have been buried here, and countless demon race experts had fallen here. This black haze was pure dark energy, which was transformed from dark matter absorbed and refined by the demon race experts. It had accumulated to a frightening degree over the years. Ordinary martial artists could not see any light at all when they stepped into this place. It suppressed martial artists who cultivated the Tao of light the most. Even the miracle Saint King would not be able to survive if he fought with the 5 demon emperors here. But for martial artists who cultivated the Tao of darkness, it was twice the result with half the effort. The realm force spread out without any hindrance. Lin Feng's cosmic system state power and his own life level were far beyond the ordinary black haze. Lin Feng knew the way to the center of the Black Demon Prison, but he was not going to see the blood shadow now. He was going to find it. The Earth octopus turtle. Kill! Kill! In the Black Demon Prison, the demon army was unstoppable. The huge Earth octopus turtle rushed to the front like a heavy tank, sweeping away all obstacles. Countless demons were killed by it. At this time, it was facing the Winged He Emperor, who was ranked 3rd among the 5 demon emperors. The latter fought and retreated. Although it relied on its wings to be extremely agile, it was no match for the Earth octopus turtle in terms of strength. With the demon emperors suppressed, the 3 demon emperors were naturally undefeatable. With Hu Li, who was ranked 3rd among the 10 great demon emperors, Qi Bo, who was ranked 7th, and Wu Yuzi, who was ranked 9th, they were like 3 great killing machines, crazily slaughtering the demon race experts. The demon race army had the absolute advantage. The 3 great demon emperors laughed wantonly and valiantly. Haha, these demons are really weak. Of course, they don't even have an opponent that can fill the gaps between my teeth. Kakik, let's end this quickly and win this battle. Next, we'll wipe out the demon's lair and let them see who is the strongest on Planet Nemo. Under the leadership of the 3 demon emperors, the other demon race experts were even more powerful. The demon race's momentum was greatly weakened, and they were barely holding on with Winged He Emperor. Seeing that the demon race was about to lose again, suddenly, boom, a terrifying force descended from the sky. Chapter 1187. It was a saber. A black saber condensed from the dark origin energy, and its power exploded. An extremely powerful aura locked on a Qi Bo, who was ranked 7th among the 10 great demon emperors. His fiery red scale armor that looked like a Chilim lost its color under the black saber. Qi Bo's expression changed drastically. He tried to dodge, but found that there was no space to dodge at all. An invisible force had firmly locked him in a narrow area. The saber cut him in half. Qi Bo's eyes widened in shock. The endless source of darkness mixed with the terrifying way of dark matter had completely obliterated his consciousness. Regardless of whether it was the Demon Clan or the Demon Clan, they were all dumbfounded at this moment. This thunderous attack had left them flabbergasted, especially Wu Yuzi, who was beside Qi Bo. He was ranked 9th among the 10 demon emperors. His eyes suddenly became sharp, and his hands turned into endless tentacles. A huge water ball formed in the void, but it stopped abruptly. The purple light arrived with a loud bang. It was a large purple bell with demonic runes shining brightly. Its speed was so fast that it arrived in front of Wu Yuzi in an instant. Wu Yuzi hurriedly tried to defend himself, but with a muffled groan, he was ruthlessly hit by the bell. His body staggered back as his hands were completely numb. Damn it! Wu Yuzi was furious. He had just calmed down a little when he suddenly widened his eyes and looked at the sky in shock. That human and the black saber had appeared above his head without him knowing. Human! Wu Yuzi screamed hysterically, full of indignation. It was a useless accusation, his last words before his death. Boom! Lin Feng's attack was overbearing. Wu Yuzi didn't even have the right to resist in front of him. Lin Feng could easily defeat him at the same level. Now that he was a nebulous state, his control of the origin energy had completely surpassed that of a stellar level. It was as easy as stepping on an ant to kill. Roar! Thunder roared. Hu Li, who was ranked 3rd among the 10 great demon emperors, was furious. Thunder rumbled, and his body became extremely huge. Although the 10 great demon emperors usually didn't get along, they were still on the same side. Seeing 2 great demon emperors being killed, Hu Li was extremely furious. Boom! Like a cannonball, Hu Li roared and charged toward Lin Feng. But in the next second, his eyes were completely dazed. Quantero illusion. Golden light flashed on Lin Feng's forehead, and the Quantero crown on his head completely flashed. At this moment, he looked extremely out of place. He was wearing the Lonely Shadow cloak and the Heaven Hatred demon armor. His left wrist was holding the purple demonic bell, and right holding the sinful black saber, but no one would laugh at him. Because in the eyes of the demon race experts, Lin Feng was a demon through and through. Facing Hu Li, who was ranked 3rd among the 10 great demon emperors, Lin Feng directly shattered his consciousness. Matero's illusions were always effective against monsters and demons. Without a fight, the 3 demon emperors were killed in the blink of an eye. The demons were stunned. Because they didn't know why this human would help them, the demon race. This was because the 3 demon emperors who had led them had all been cleanly killed by this human who had appeared out of nowhere. Even so, Lin Feng's expression did not change. His target was not the 3 demon emperors. In the distance, the earth-profound rock turtle that was originally charging at the front had already turned its head. Its small eyes were intertwined with a green light, and the earth python on its shell was even sharper. Its huge body stood there like a huge mountain, giving off a powerful feeling that it was difficult to shake. Top ancient divine beast, black earth turtle. Lin Feng only had one goal from the beginning. Killing the 3 demon emperors was just a warm-up. His real opponent was this old monster in front of him who had lived for thousands of years. Its strength was unfathomable, and he knew very well that what it had shown was only a part of its combat strength. Even so, it was quite terrifying. Boom! The purple demonic bell flew out of Lin Feng's hand. Even if he didn't use any tricks, just the explosion of his realm power was enough. Even the great demon emperors couldn't take it head-on. However, the black earth turtle just retracted its head and feet into its shell. The patterned, fossil-like green shell was its most powerful natural defense. The earth-profound earth python on its body also shrunk back into its shell. The purple and green radiance collided, and in an instant, there was a muffled, thunder-like impact. The earth-profound turtle was knocked back by the powerful impact, but it stopped after moving less than 10 meters. There wasn't even a crack on the green shell. There wasn't even a trace of it. Ghost Demon Double Hope Lin Feng's attacks came wave after wave. The long-range attacks didn't give the black earth turtle any chance at all. The latter didn't have any intention of resisting. It curled up into a ball, as if no one could do anything to it. Lin Feng's attacks were strong, but he couldn't break its defense by relying on treasures alone. Neither the purple-eyed demonic bell nor the ghost demon double hope succeeded. Oh! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Li Poji had mentioned to him that tens of millions of years ago, when the demon race and the demon race besieged the black earth turtle, it was the same situation. The black earth turtle had curled up in its shell and completely defended. The demon race and the demon race experts couldn't do anything to it. Some demon race experts thought themselves clever and wanted to get close, but forgot that the black earth turtle was on its body. There was a black earth python. It was no joke to be bitten by it. To all Luo's illusion. Lin Feng changed his attack method, but the illusion attack was like a bomb thrown into a still lake. It couldn't blow up anything. The black earth turtle's state of mind was calm and slow. It had no desires, and its cultivation base of tens of millions of years was even more profound. Lin Feng's successive attacks had failed, and the demon race experts suddenly had hope again. They had all followed the black earth turtle all the way into the black demon prison. The demon race's ancestor could be said to be invincible. Nothing could stop it. The demon race's morale was low after the 3 demon emperors were killed, but they forgot that their real core bone was not the demon emperors, but the black earth turtle. Ancestor, the black earth turtle. Ancestor, kill this damned human. Avenge the 3 demon emperors. Damn it. I already said that humans can't be trusted. Despicable and shameless human, you dare to betray us. You will die a horrible death. The demon race was furious. Lin Feng's successive setbacks greatly boosted their morale. On the other hand, the demon race was somewhat wary. Firstly, they didn't know what this human meant by appearing here. Secondly, they were already terrified of the black earth turtle's power. An undying monster. Clang! Lin Feng's black blade of sin flashed with black light. Although he was alone, he completely ignored all the demon race experts present, including the black earth turtle. With his current strength, although the black earth turtle had tens of millions of years of cultivation, as long as it showed its head, he had absolute confidence in killing it, even if it used this innate defense that was comparable to a cosmic system state. That was all. No matter which path of cultivation you choose, defense alone isn't enough, Lin Feng said softly. In an instant, he activated his demon blood, and a red light flashed on his chest. The heaven-hating demon armor erupted. A terrifying power erupted from the depths of his bloodline. Chapter 1188. The heaven-hating demon armor, turtle bone roared, and Lin Feng's killing intent suddenly appeared. The blood-red eyes under the mask were the eruption of the dark demon Dao. Now, his 4th-level cultivation base was driving the talent's secret technique of the heaven-hating demon race. Although it was the first time he used it in the cosmic system state, there were not many obstacles, and the increase was huge. That was because his foundation had been sublimated, and the increase was more than twice that of the star state. The combat power of the cosmic system state had increased again. Boom! Just the majestic and astonishing aura alone made the surrounding experts of the demon clan tremble in fear. They couldn't even resist, as if they were looking at the descent of a demon god. Even the earth-profound rock turtle, who was hiding there, moved a little, feeling a little fearful of Lin Feng's power. Divine beasts were not without consciousness. They also knew danger and fear. Otherwise, the earth-mysterious turtle bone would not have participated in this war. Clang! The black light of the black saber of sin shrouded the earth. Lin Feng's 6-fold saber heart aura was unleashed. The vigorous power along with the saber force immediately blasted the surrounding heavenly demon experts out of the chi circle. They were badly injured like Azuras in the dark night. Lin Feng suddenly stepped out and slashed down with the saber. Chi! The earth-mysterious turtle bone still defended and did not counterattack. Rumble! Lin Feng's full power erupted in this powerful blow, which was much more terrifying than that of the demon race. It was enough to make mountains collapse and the earth crack. A huge sinkhole was created in the ground of the Black Demon prison, and the Earth mysterious turtle bone was at the bottom of the sinkhole. Boom! Lin Feng seemed to be venting his anger, but also seemed to be testing his own strength. He attacked continuously, his blood-red eyes filled with madness. His terrifying battle intent, combined with his killing intent, caused the surrounding Yao and Devil clans to keep quiet out of fear, unable to move. The Earth mysterious turtle bone was motionless, and its position was getting lower and lower. The ground of the Black Demon prison was thousands of meters deep. The ground shook violently, and the surroundings were silent. Lin Feng's terrifying strength shocked the demon race experts, and they didn't even have the courage to resist. Hua! Lin Feng floated in midair. The black blade of sin shrouded the origin of darkness, and its terrifying power looked down on the small creatures. The sinkhole below seemed to have buried the Earth Black Turtle alive, but that was not the case. The Earth Abstruse Turtle's defense was comparable to a cosmic system state, as expected of a descendant of the Black Tortoise. Every one of my attacks was powerful enough to kill a demon emperor, but it only caused some damage. It didn't even break through its shell. Lin Feng finally understood how the demon race besieged the Earth Black Turtle thousands of years ago. Even a cosmic system state couldn't break it, much less a star state. If I hadn't appeared, the devil race would have probably suffered another bitter defeat in this war. Lin Feng's origin star realm's dark origin energy surged out wildly. His power was quickly released and condensed into the Black Blade of Sin. The dark demon's aura was condensed into a crushing pressure. It's time to end this. Lin Feng raised the sinful black saber, which flashed with a bright light. To stab the Emperor, his most powerful killing move came crashing down. The eruption of a cosmic system state's hatred of the heaven state was completely different from that of a star state. Its power was more than 10 times greater. Lin Feng had already perfected the second strike of the evil devil and the dark curve stab. Although his previous consecutive attacks couldn't break through the Earth Black Turtle's defense, this move was extremely powerful. He had absolute confidence in himself. Boom! Lin Feng unleashed his full power with the Origin Dao and Level 6 Elementary Blade Heart. The appearance of the stab the Emperor shocked the heavens and caused space to tremble. Lin Feng clearly knew that this strike would break the Earth Black Turtle shell, but at that moment, a strange scene happened. A strange pattern appeared on one piece of the Earth Octopus Turtle's green armor, which was different from the other turtle shells. The mysterious power was like a mark, and it glowed with other colors. Instantly, it sucked the surrounding turtle shells tightly like a huge magnet. An illusory shadow appeared above the turtle shell of the Earth Octopus Turtle, and it raised its head and howled. Heavenly Dipper Divine Beast, Black Tortoise Chi, stabbed the Emperor's attack was extremely powerful. Although there was a slight resistance, it still broke through the Black Turtle's illusory shadow and landed on the mutated turtle shell. Lin Feng frowned. The moment the Black Blade of Sin landed, a powerful recoil came. Boom! Lin Feng was pushed back by the huge recoil, like a meteor crashing into a meteor. He retreated and stopped in midair. Black Tortoise Big Dipper Seal. So this is the Black Tortoise Big Dipper Seal that Brotherly was talking about. Instead of being angry, Lin Feng was delighted. He was extremely surprised. This was the first time he had seen such a situation. It was an eye-opener. The recoil force did not hurt him, but the Black Tortoise's Celestial Dipper Seal was indeed extraordinary. Is it a bloodline or something else? Lin Feng was very curious. How? The Black Rock Turtle's angry roar came from the bottom of the sinkhole. It had never been bullied like this before. Thousands of years of cultivation had already cultivated its strength to the peak, but the human's attack just now had broken through the defense it was proud of, causing it to be injured. Ever since it had awakened the Black Tortoise Big Dipper Seal, it had almost forgotten what pain felt like. But now it remembered. The Black Turtle's illusory shadow appeared again. The Black Turtle's Black Tortoise Big Dipper Seal condensed a slightly cracked turtle shell. The Earth Black Turtle rushed up from the ground. It was truly furious. It, who had been beaten without fighting back, wanted to fight back. It wanted to teach this ungrateful human a lesson. But suddenly, the earth black turtle felt that something was wrong. An even more terrifying aura shrouded the darkness. The human in the void had an extremely domineering aura. The black saber that was raised high had firmly nailed the entire area in an instant. An inexplicable chill rose from the bottom of its heart. The evil demon's 3 heavy strikes, the third strike. Lin Feng completely erupted. He used the battle strength of an overlord to activate his absolute power. Combined with the 4th level of the path of Dark Demon, he fiercely attacked. In the past, in order to create the evil demon's 3rd strike, Yin Xiedao had fallen into the Dark Demon state. In the end, even his consciousness had been swallowed by the demon. But Lin Feng had done it, because his path of Dark Demon cultivation had completely surpassed the evil demon's 3 heavy strikes. Strength, cultivation, and even willpower. Everything came naturally. At this moment, Lin Feng did not have any distracting thoughts. His saber technique was naturally released and erupted. Under the state of hating the heavens, Lin Feng's combat strength had risen to a higher level, allowing him to perfectly execute this move. With his 4th layer of the Dark Devil Dao, he was able to easily control this saber. It tore through space. Boom! The shocking and terrifying blade technique ruthlessly destroyed the black turtle's illusory shadow. In the next instant, it shattered the earth black turtle's turtle shell and swallowed its fragile body along with the earth black python. The shattered shell of the earth obsidian turtle scattered in the void like a rain of fragments. The black tortoise Big Dipper seal. Lin Feng stared at the rain of fragments. A strange light was still eye-catching. Pa! The realm power turned into an invisible hand and directly grabbed it. Chapter 1189. This is the black tortoise Big Dipper seal. Lin Feng examined the object in his hand curiously. It was a diamond-like gemstone that contained a complex and powerful energy. When he held it in his hand, he could faintly feel the presence of the divine beast, the black tortoise. This wasn't a single source of energy, but an object formed from a mixture of many sources of energy and bloodlines. It was like the cells of the divine beast, the black tortoise. Can it be used? Lin Feng tried to probe it, but his power couldn't penetrate it at all. Even if he could easily defeat the black tortoise and shatter its strongest shell, he couldn't destroy the black tortoise Big Dipper seal. It was like an ordinary person holding a book of gold. He could have it, but it wasn't so easy to destroy it. Interesting. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. Below, the experts of the demon and Yao races were stunned, seeing an unknown human expert barge in, first killing 3 demon emperors, and then slaughtering the primogenitor of the demon clan in the end. His strength was terrifying. Looking at his calm expression, he was completely above all living beings, making it difficult for them to advance or retreat. The demon race and the human race were enemies, and the Yao race didn't know what this human wanted to do. The two sides stood facing each other. No one dared to act rashly, for fear of angering this fiend and encountering a calamity. Everyone knew that as long as this human expert wanted to, not to mention one side, even if the two forces joined forces, they would not be his opponent. The atmosphere was tense and awkward. The usually powerful demons didn't make a sound, and the Yao race experts kept quiet out of fear. The situation was deadlocked. At that moment, swish, Lin Feng's figure flashed and then disappeared. The demons and Yao race were stunned. Time stopped for a moment. Suddenly, the two races woke up and roared, and the life-and-death battle continued. Lin Feng had indeed left. He had no interest in participating in this kind of battle. Moreover, after killing the 3 Yao emperors and the black tortoise, the Yao race only had a few shrimp soldiers and crab generals left. They weren't a match for the demons at all. The outcome of this battle had already been decided, including the war between the demons and the humans. The miracle sage king had fled, and the black tortoise had been killed. The situation was set. He didn't have much time left on Nemo planet. Lin Feng's figure flashed, and he arrived in a quiet and uninhabited area. Compared to the battle between the devil race and the monster race, he was more curious about the black tortoise astral seal in his hand. This unknown object that contained a powerful energy gave him a sense of novelty and joy. There was no doubt about its strength. The earth octopus turtle's strength had increased greatly because of the black tortoise's Big Dipper seal. A large part of the black tortoise Big Dipper seal is earth energy, or perhaps the tyrant dragon clone is more compatible with it. Lin Feng thought to himself. Although he did not know what the black tortoise Big Dipper seal was, perhaps it was the same as other treasures with a spirit. The key was the spiritual compatibility. How the gigantic tyrant dragon avatar appeared. After transforming into an ancient divine beast, not only had its bloodline become even more powerful, its body was as tough as a top-tier ancient divine beast, and its earth aptitude had also improved tremendously. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was the favored child of the earth, and its path to becoming a demon god was even smoother than that, establishing a solid foundation. I've got it! Tyrannosaurus Lin Feng was instantly tempted. The black tortoise Big Dipper seal floating in the air transformed into a true divine beast, the black tortoise. Dense earth energy revolved around it, and the instant the Tyrannosaurus Rex touched the black tortoise Big Dipper seal, a shocking amount of energy poured into it. Not good. Lin Feng sensed a powerful aura pouring in. The black tortoise's energy wanted to devour his soul, or perhaps forcibly merge with it. If it was a true Tyrannosaurus Rex, he would definitely be in big trouble. Perhaps even his consciousness would be devoured. Sometimes, treasures that were too powerful weren't necessarily good. It also depended on whether or not one could withstand it. Merging with the black tortoise Big Dipper seal is a must, but I can't let you take the lead. The Tyrannosaurus Rex Lin Feng was very clear on this. In an instant, he entered the 10,000 origin mustard stone and maintained his soul's autonomy. It's not easy for the earth profound turtle either. Its soul is already extremely compatible with the black tortoise Big Dipper seal. Completely merging with it is too difficult, Lin Feng thought to himself. If he guessed correctly, the earth profound turtle must have obtained the black tortoise Big Dipper seal by chance. It wasn't rare for such a treasure to exist in the 6 great danger lands. The earth profound turtle was probably one of the few divine beasts that was compatible with the black tortoise. After all, it definitely had a small portion of the black tortoise's bloodline. The earth profound turtle should be more compatible with it than I am. Lin Feng understood. This was why the black tortoise Big Dipper seal hadn't devoured its master. It was just like an ancestor meeting its descendant. Naturally, it wouldn't have the heart to do so. However, it was too difficult for the earth profound turtle to obtain the black tortoise Big Dipper seal's power. The demonic beast's souls were weak, and walking the path of demon gods was even weaker. Thus, every time the earth profound turtle obtained a portion of the black tortoise Big Dipper seal's power, it would have to sleep for a long time to recover and absorb it. Even so, it was still difficult for it to achieve a qualitative breakthrough. At the end of the day, its soul is too weak. Lin Feng thought. If the earth profound turtle had a soul comparable to the Wan Xie heavenly demon, it would have reached the cosmic system state long ago. This was also the reason why more and more demonic beasts chose the path of transformation. Miracle Garden. This was the main camp of the humans. The first, second, and third domains formed a triangle that had not fallen for hundreds of millions of years. Like the Black Demon Prison, it was not only the spiritual symbol of the humans, but also their final trump card. Once it was broken, it would mean the extinction of the humans on planet Nemo. Hold on, we must not let the demonic beasts enter. Defend our home with our lives. The humans gritted their teeth and fought the demonic beasts with all their might. At this moment, the elites of the demonic beasts had all moved out, with the Blood Axe Emperor and Qi Jing Emperor leading the charge. They attacked with irresistible force. The Heaven Beasts defended with the humans. The demonic beasts had been attacking the Miracle Garden for an entire month. The continuous attacks tested the humans' bottom line, pierced their final defense, and accelerated the collapse of the humans' confidence. If it wasn't for the deep foundations of the 5 races and the help of the demonic beasts, the miracle garden would have already been broken. Kill. Haha, kill those humans. Planet Nemo belongs to the demonic race. It belongs to the great sovereign demonic beasts. Roar, roar, roar. The demonic beasts became crazier the more they fought. Their morale was high. On the other hand, the humans and demonic beasts were like arrows at the end of their flight. Almost all the demonic beasts on the Dark Demon ranking were here. The battles and massacres brought despair to the humans. Rumble. The Blood Axe Emperor led the charge and killed another demonic beasts. Kill. Amidst their roars, the demon race powerhouses continued to attack. At this moment, there was a figure watching this battle expressionlessly, but it was unknown what he was thinking. Lin Feng. Chapter 1190. Humans. Lin Feng murmured softly. He did hate the miracle garden, the culprit behind the extinction of Earth time and time again, but he did not hate the humans of Nemo Planet. There were good and bad humans, even on Earth. The humans of Nemo Planet were the same. He had made many friends in the past few years on Nemo Planet, but they were not much different from the humans on Earth. Although he had promised to help Blood Shadow, it did not mean that he would stand on the side of the Devil Clan, because he was a human. Looking at the bloody and cruel Devil Clan experts, he did not feel any sense of belonging from them. Or perhaps he did not like the Devil Clan from the bottom of his heart. Perhaps this is the innate rejection of humans. Lin Feng smiled faintly and stood in the sky, looking down at the experts of the 3 clans fighting below. Indeed, the trend of this war was leaning toward the Devil Clan, but even a rotten ship has 3 nails. It would not be easy for the Devil Clan to defeat the alliance of humans and demons in a short time. But it did not matter who was strong or weak. What was important was his heart. Now he had complete control of this war. Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. He did not hesitate too much. His thoughts had not changed from the beginning to the end. To have self-cultivation, one must face one's own heart. No matter if it was joy or sadness, love or hate, there was no need to hide it. It was the same for the Nemo Planet, and it was the same for Shimanzi. It's time to have a good talk with Blood Shadow. Lin Feng's figure flashed, and then he left. Black Demon Prison. You're here, Blood Shadow said. I'm here. Lin Feng sat in front of Blood Shadow. It was a dark garden, planted with flowers of the Devil Clan. They were also bloodthirsty, cruel, gorgeous, and vicious. Picking up the wine pot on the stone table, Lin Feng filled a small cup for himself and drank it in one gulp. Blood Shadow didn't say anything, so Lin Feng filled another cup and drank it. Blood Shadow did the same. With a calm smile, Lin Feng filled another cup and drank it. Then he poured the wine into the cup and put it down with a smile. Apologize? Blood Shadow sneered. You can think of it that way, Lin Feng said. Don't you think it's too much? Blood Shadow's voice was cold. Lin Feng shook his head. Everyone was originally doing this for mutual benefit, so how could it be considered excessive? After eliminating the Miracle Saint King and the demonic ancestor, my mission has already been completed. Blood Shadow laughed. That's right. You're helping me get rid of the Miracle Saint King, the ancestor of the Monster Clan. However, if we cannot unify the Nemo Star, what is the point of getting rid of them? Yes. Lin Feng landed on the ground with a voice. Blood Shadow coldly looked over, and their eyes met. They are your obstacles, but I'm not. Lin Feng said, I won't stop you from unifying Nemo Planet. What I promised you that day is still valid. You've done me a favor, so I won't bite the hand that feeds me. There are many ways to unify Nemo Planet. Continue, Blood Shadow said. Lin Feng nodded. There are 2 options for you to choose from. First, leave a region for the humans of Nemo Planet. I will completely isolate them from the Nemo Star and form a region of their own. The rest of the Monster Clan is nothing. You could do whatever you want with them. What about the second option? Blood Shadow asked. Lin Feng smiled. It's very simple. You just need to become the new Miracle Saint King. Oh, Blood Shadow's eyes lit up. Miracle Garden, Scarlet Sun Clan. The head of the 5 clans of Tian Mo, Miracle Saint King Chi Hao, was from the Scarlet Sun Clan. Other than Chi Hao, clan leader Chi was ranked 7th on the Minwa Heavenly List, and the number 1 warrior Chi Yu was ranked 17th. There were also 3 life-breaking stage cultivators. The subordinate royal clan also had 3 life-breaking stage cultivators and 3 miracle saints. In terms of power, the Scarlet Sun clan deserved to be called the strongest. They had stood tall for countless years, and no one could shake them. However, today, 3 uninvited guests had barged into the Scarlet Sun clan without any scruples and destroyed the famous head of the 5 clans of Tian Mo. One of the people who decided to carry out the 7th extinction was clan leader Chi. Lin Feng looked indifferent and showed no mercy. It was because of their plan that countless people on Earth had died and the Earth had almost exploded. How could they face the dead people on Earth if Miracle Garden wasn't destroyed? Damn it! Li Poji gritted his teeth and killed Chi, who had already lost the ability to fight. Brotherly, do you think we've gone too far? Lin Feng asked. There's no need to be merciful to the enemy, Li Poji said seriously. You didn't kill them, but they died because of you. Can you live with that? That's right. Lin Feng smiled. Then, a black shadow came out from the Scarlet Sun clan. It was Blood Shadow. There wasn't any emotion in his cold eyes. He was a cold-blooded killer. Annihilate the Scarlet Sun clan. Blood Shadow's cold voice resounded in the hall. Then, the Feiji clan, Zhaotian clan, Yin Mo clan, and Hunling clan followed in the footsteps of the Scarlet Sun clan. In one night, Lin Feng and the other 2 slaughtered the 5 clans of Tian Mo, killing all the Heaven Glimpse and life-breaking stage experts. Just like the Poji said, they had to do what they had to do. There was a saying, destroy and rebuild, which was suitable for the current human race. It was time to end Miracle Garden. It was time for the 5 clans of Tian Mo to leave Planet Nemo. Lin Feng and the other 2 wouldn't kill the innocent, but it was enough to make the 5 clans of Tian Mo disappear. And then, it's up to you, Lin Feng said to Blood Shadow. Humph! Blood Shadow's voice was cold as he left. Miracle Garden was shaken. The sky changed in one night. The 5 clans of Tian Mo were all killed, and not a single expert was left. It was a nightmare for the Miracle Garden that was already in danger. The demon race's attacks were stronger and stronger, and the humans were struggling at death's door. Now that the 5 clans of Tian Mo had been annihilated, what chance did the humans have? Despair spread in the hearts of the human experts. The seed of fear was slowly fermenting. At this time, the demon race army attacked again. They wanted to take down Miracle Garden with lightning speed and exterminate the humans. The Blood Axe Sovereign and Qijing Sovereign had astonishing battle prowess. They were able to fight against experts like Li Mubai, Luo Shen, and King Tianyao by themselves. As for the Demon Emperor level experts, they were completely defeated by the top 10 experts of the myriad demon rankings. Without the profound Earth Turtle, they were just a bunch of mobs. This time, the demon race was serious. The top 100 demon experts of the 10,000 demon list were all here. They closed in step by step, leaving the human and demonic beast experts with no way out. Experts were killed one after another. The demons were arrogant and unstoppable. Li Mubai was lightly injured, Goddess Luo was heavily injured, and King Heavenly Glory was heavily injured. The humans had suffered a crushing defeat. The demon race army broke through Miracle Garden and rampaged. They were about to win. Chapter 1191. The Tian Mo 5 races that dominated the Miracle Garden were destroyed, which made the humans lose their backbone. Their strength was greatly damaged, but the more important thing was their morale and confidence. The Tian Mo 5 races had been the guardians of the humans since the existence of the Nemo planet. They had survived countless battles and left an unshakable impression in the hearts of the humans. The Tian Mo 5 races were the faith of the humans on the Nemo planet. Just like how Lin Feng was to Earth, he was indispensable. But now their faith had collapsed. First we lost the Miracle Saint King, then the Tian Mo 5 races. The humans on the Nemo planet have no chance of winning. In the air, Li Poji crossed his arms. The humans on the Nemo planet were destined to fail the moment Blood Shadow became the demon star, Lin Feng said. Li Poji smiled. That's right. Blood Shadow can easily deal with the humans and monsters on the Nemo planet. The difference is that with our help, he will have less trouble and travel less, Lin Feng said. Li Poji said, so, he was wrong to ask you for help from the beginning? Lin Feng shook his head. He didn't ask me to deal with the humans and monsters on the Nemo planet from the beginning. Turning to Li Poji, Lin Feng said softly, there's something you might not know. Brotherly, I met Blood Shadow a few years ago in the 33 continents. At that time, he was far stronger than me. It was easy for him to kill me. Li Poji's eyes lit up. On Earth, Blood Shadow and you and I were like fire and water. We hated each other to the core. Maybe it's still the same now. Lin Feng sighed. But he's too cruel to himself. He's so cruel that he can abandon his emotions and desires. In this aspect, he's really like the demon race. No wonder Tian Ho cultivated 3 paths. He walked the path of the demon heart. No wonder he could fuse with the demon blood of the military throat. So, Brother Lin, you mean? Li Poji pondered. He treated me as a flagpole. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Flagpole? Li Poji frowned. What do you mean? It's simple. He treats me as an imaginary enemy, or a real enemy. He chases after me like crazy, trying to surpass me at all costs. Lin Feng said, once he surpasses me, he will feel empty again and lose his goal until I surpass him again. Li Poji didn't quite understand. Lin Feng smiled and said, it's like a group of ordinary people doing a long-distance race. Blood Shadow has the ability to run in front, but he doesn't know how to run after the first person. He only knows how to run after the first person. The first person to run was you, and then it was me. I see. Li Poji was enlightened. Lin Feng looked down at the battlefield in the Miracle Garden. It was already shattered beyond recognition. In a sense, he is our friend, but in another sense, he is our enemy. This is a bomb that we don't know when it will explode, and we don't know who it will hurt. Or perhaps it is a dud. You can't do anything to him, Li Poji said, because no matter what, he has helped you before. Yes. Lin Feng sighed and then smiled. Actually, it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you think that someone is chasing after you, you won't stop. It's not a bad thing to think about it from another perspective. Li Poji curled the corners of his mouth. Blood Shadow is not the only one chasing after you. You are different. Lin Feng smiled. Maybe I will turn bad one day. Li Poji raised his eyebrows and said. The two of them smiled. Compared with the subtle relationship with Blood Shadow, Lin Feng and Li Poji were very familiar with each other's characters. They were as close as brothers. The humans on Nemo can't hold on for much longer. Li Poji looked down. It's the most desperate time for the humans on Nemo. It's as if they are trapped in a boundless ocean. They want to grasp at a straw to save their lives. Lin Feng said softly, no one will care about the icing on the cake, but the timely help will be deeply remembered. The one who stands out to save the humans on Nemo at this time. Not only will he become the new Miracle Saint King, but he will also be worshipped by all the humans on Nemo. Lin Feng's voice was sonorous. He looked at the battlefield in the Miracle Garden. Blood Shadow appeared out of nowhere. He was different from the mysterious black robe he wore in the demon race. The demon race had never seen him in a human appearance. His appearance stunned the humans in the Miracle Garden. He was a nameless human youth. But no matter if he was a human or a monster, as long as he could save the humans on Nemo, the humans on Nemo wouldn't care. Not to mention that Blood Shadow was indeed a human. As he stepped out and killed the curse-shattering heavenly demons, he immediately became the focus of the battlefield. Roar! Roar! A group of demon race experts surrounded Blood Shadow, including Emperor Qijing. Let's go, brotherly. Lin Feng smiled. Let's give him a hand and finish the mission earlier. No problem. Li Poji laughed heartily. The situation suddenly changed. When the demons broke through the Miracle Garden's defenses and killed the demonic beast experts that came to help, causing the humans of Planet Nemo to suffer heavy losses. When they thought that victory was in their hands, a Chung Yaojin appeared out of nowhere. The Blood Shadow turned the tide and attacked the demons. Lin Feng and Li Poji helped Xue Ying in secret. They didn't try to steal Xue Ying's glory. They killed Emperor Qi Jing and severely injured Emperor Shuang. The humans on Nemo planet saw hope and dawn. Instead, the demon race army fell into panic and disaster. Blood Shadow's strength was unparalleled. The curse-shattering heavenly demons were killed one after another. Even Emperor Qi Jing, who was ranked second among the 5 emperors, was killed. The Blood Axe Emperor, who was ranked first, was heavily injured. This blow was no less than the defeat of the Miracle Saint King. The situation was completely reversed. The humans of Anemo Star were boiling with excitement. They were so excited that tears of joy rolled down their cheeks. The human warriors who survived the war had forgotten their pain. They could only smile foolishly. Blood Shadow stood in the sky above the Miracle Garden. Below him was a group of admiring gazes. His appearance was like a bright shooting star, conquering all the humans on Nemo. Retreat after success. Li Poji smiled. We'll leave Nemo planet to him. Lin Feng smiled. With Blood Shadow's ability, he would soon become the new master of the Nemo planet. By then, he would be both a god and a ghost. He would be able to control both the human race and the demon race. Once the Nemo planet was in his hands, he would become the true master of the Nemo planet, the supreme emperor. As for the demon race, they were not worth mentioning. His ambition would be unleashed. This situation was better than simply controlling the demon race on Nemo. Does this count as a substitution? Li Poji asked. Lin Feng smiled. If Blood Shadow was attached to power, then he got what he wanted. This was undoubtedly a good thing for him and Earth. Blood Shadow's power was limited on Nemo. He was about to enter the Milky Way and become a true cosmic system state. Soon, his power would completely leave Blood Shadow behind. Let's go. MHM. Chapter 1192. After the battle in Miracle Garden, Lin Feng and Li Poji had separated. They had deep memories of each other on this special planet. They had friends, feelings, and some nostalgia. After returning to Earth, he would not return to Nemo Star for a long time. Everything had a beginning and an end. Everything had to be said. It didn't matter which way it ended. They agreed to meet in 3 days. It was also the last day of the 3 months since the Miracle Saint King had been defeated. To Lin Feng, this was his bottom line. He had to return to Earth within 3 months, regardless of whether the Miracle Saint King could reach Earth in 3 months or not. It was better to be safe than sorry. Lin Feng returned to the 7th region of the human race. This place wasn't affected by the war. It was a paradise. The feeling of stepping into the 7th region was even better than Miracle Garden. There was a deep sense of familiarity. Although the war on Nemo planet hadn't completely ended, to Lin Feng, everything was settled. There would be no more miracles. It was time for him to settle the dust. Manzi, the beautiful figure in red, appeared in Lin Feng's mind. He didn't know when he started to have feelings for Manzi. It could be that he liked her, or it could be that he loved her, or it could be both. As he cultivated, Lin Feng naturally wouldn't hide from his own heart. If he liked her, he liked her. From the 33 continents to the Nirvana world, Manzi had always maintained the same feelings for him. She didn't leave him. It didn't matter if she was touched or if she had developed feelings for him over time. Master, Son of Death's figure appeared from the darkness. Thank you for your hard work, Lin Feng said. It was hard for him to let Son of Death, a super powerhouse on the Nirvana heavenly ranking, be his bodyguard. This is what I should do. Son of Death's gaze fell on the main hall in front of him. Miss Manzi is inside. She hasn't suffered any injuries. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. Then he stepped in. Glory Territory, Main Hall. Lady Manzi, the first Glory team has successfully completed the mission. My lord, the selection for the Ace team has ended. These are the initial potential members who can be promoted. The details of the reform of the elite army have been completed. Please take a look. The experts of the Glory Alliance gathered together, including He Jin, Wei Xinyan, and Yuan Shuang, the 3 earliest Ace commanders, as well as Yi Xia, Wu Daozi, Fire Melting, Snow Blowing, and other newly promoted Glory commanders. The current Glory Alliance 7 was filled with talents, and the warriors of the Chaos team had all become Glory commanders. Among them, Shimanzi was the strongest and had the highest status. Shimanzi was only a step away from nirvana. Shimanzi was dressed in red as she sat at the head of the table, carefully flipping through one report after another. Her long eyelashes were slightly raised. Her light red lips were glistening. Her graceful figure was like a gift from the heavens, and her face was flawless without a single flaw. Her every movement emitted the charm of a woman. Xiaoxia, where's the information I asked you to find? Shimanzi did not even raise her head as she breathed out. There was complete silence. Shimanzi was slightly surprised and could not help but raise her head. A pair of quick-witted, beautiful eyes looked into the distance and suddenly saw a familiar figure walking over with a bright smile. In an instant, it was as if ice and snow had melted. Shimanzi was pleasantly surprised as she stood up, her eyes filled with joy, unable to speak. Are you willing to go with me, Manzi? Lin Feng smiled as he looked at the familiar red figure in his memory. Everyone was stunned. Everyone's eyes widened as they could not believe that the newly promoted Saber King was actually asking for love in front of so many people. This was also, biting her cherry lips, Shimanzi's cheeks were slightly red. Her pair of beautiful eyes were somewhat reproachful, but more of it came from the bottom of her heart. She did not avoid Lin Feng's gaze. She would never hide her love for the person she liked. She knew that Lin Feng did not have any feelings for her at the beginning, but she did not give up. From the 33 continents to the Nirvana world, she had silently given up for him. Today, she had finally waited. I'm willing. Shimanzi revealed an extremely charming smile as her red dress fluttered. At this moment, she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Have you made up your mind? Lin Feng would not hide anything from Manzi, including his identity, his hometown, and the fact that he was not a human of Nirvana world. He told her everything. It was true that he liked Manzi, but he would not force her. It was good that she was willing to accept him, but if she could not... Yes. Shimanzi leaned on Lin Feng's shoulder as her slender eyelashes moved slightly. She responded lazily as if she did not care about anything. Are you really willing to go with me? Lin Feng was a little surprised by Manzi's reaction. Her reaction could be said to be no reaction. I'm willing. Shimanzi smiled, brimming with happiness as she said, I am an orphan with no ties. The only thing I miss is the master who adopted me. However, the 33 continents and the Nirvana world are separated by the seal. It is difficult to return. But it doesn't matter. I will have family in the future. Manzi raised her head slightly as her beautiful eyes looked deeply at Lin Feng. I only have one request, Brother Lin. What is it? You are not allowed to abandon me. Beside the stone table, the members of the Chaos team gathered. I didn't expect Brother Lin to be with Sister Manzi, Yixia said. What's so strange about that? Wu Daozi sipped his wine and shook his head. Can't you see that Manzi likes Captain? Now is the time for us to see the moon. Shueishua did not say anything. She picked up the wine on the stone table and drank it up as if she had something on her mind. You drank too much, Shueishua, Emohua said. Yixia muttered. Brother Lin really values love over friendship. When he came back, he did not even say goodbye to us. He just kidnapped Sister Manzi and ran away. How annoying. Little Xia, how dare you speak ill of me behind my back? A soft voice drifted over, causing Yi Xia and the rest to be stunned, only to see a man and a woman walking over from afar with smiles on their faces. Weren't they Lin Feng and Shimanzi? Brother Lin, Yi Xia's eyes widened. Sister Manzi. Everyone was wild with joy. In an instant, they surrounded them. Lin Feng had been gone for a long time this time. When they gathered again, they had endless things to talk about. Lin Feng was also very happy. He did not have many friends in the Nirvana world. Yi Xia and the others knew each other from the 33 continents until now, so they had a very deep friendship with each other. They chatted about the past and forgot their troubles. With the fragrance of wine, some people were happy while others were sad. This was how the world was. You must be happy, Brother Lin, Sister Manzi. Yi Xia was a little drunk, but she was very happy. I don't need you to tell me that. Wu Daozi said, Look at how happy Sister Manzi is now. She's like a little bird. TSK, I have never seen Sister Manzi like this. Manzi wrinkled her nose and snorted. Lin Feng smiled and swept his gaze over the crowd. He suddenly said, "After today's parting, I don't know when we will meet again. Since we are all fated to meet, I hope this little token of appreciation will be able to fulfill your wishes." Finished speaking, Lin Feng took out 4 storage rings and placed one on the table for everyone. Chapter 1193. Everyone was stunned. "Brother Lin, we've already received a lot of favors from you." Yixia waved his hand. "Yes, Captain. Without you and Sister Manzi, we might still be struggling in the Ace Army," Wu Daozi said. "Well, don't refuse. I don't intend to take back what I've given out. If this spreads, where will my title as the Saber King go?" Lin Feng smiled and said, "Just take it as an early congratulatory gift for your promotion. In addition, I've already talked to King Fanxing. When you're promoted, you can go and find him directly." King Fanxing. Everyone's eyes lit up instantly. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Lin Feng was not a wishy-washy person. When it was time to leave, he would leave. He glanced at Manzi beside him and smiled knowingly. Then, he hugged everyone and bid farewell. Everyone resisted the sadness of parting, but many of them still had tears in their eyes, especially Chueshua. "Good sister, take care of yourself," Manzi said softly. "Yes." Chueshu gritted her teeth and said, "You have to be happy too, sister." Manzi turned her head to look at Lin Feng, revealing a sweet smile. I definitely will." A short reunion was a parting. Although Yi Xia and the others were sad, they still smiled and blessed Lin Feng and Manzi. After all, it was not a life and death parting. As long as they worked hard to improve their strength and become stronger, they would have a chance to meet again in the future. Looking at the departing couple, everyone sighed. Suddenly, what? Ronghuo's expression changed drastically. "What's wrong?" Wu Daozi looked over in surprise. He saw that Ronghuo was holding the storage ring that Lin Feng had given him. Ronghuo's expression was strange. "See for yourselves." Everyone was surprised and puzzled. They checked their storage rings one after another and all gasped. 100 million battle merits. I have 100 million battle merits too. Yixia and Wu Daozi were shocked. 100 million battle merits was a huge sum. Even a 10,000 years old expert would not have such wealth. A high-quality, low-grade Heaven-tier Saint artifact would only cost 10,000 battle merits. A high-quality, medium-grade Heaven-tier Saint artifact would cost 100 million battle merits. Lin Feng's parting gift was really generous. Everyone was surprised. Chueshua was the only one who didn't say anything. Her storage ring had far more battle merits than 100 million battle merits. Chueshua gritted her teeth as her eyes blurred. Big Brother Lin seems to treat Sister Chueshua especially well. Manzi charmingly rolled her eyes. "She's different from little Xia and the others," Lin Feng said. Manzi said, "Actually, I also think that we should help little Sister Chueshua a bit more. After all, she is a girl." And Manzi giggled. "You also feel guilty." Lin Feng was speechless. He suddenly smiled and said, "Maybe a little. Just a little?" "Yes." "Really?" "Yes." Although there were 3 days, it was still a tight schedule. After all, the war was not over yet. Many of the interdomain teleportation formations could not be used, especially the ones that led to the 6 danger zones. A lot of time would be wasted on the journey. Although Lin Feng had completed the most important task, there were still some matters that needed to be taken care of. For example, go to the Luo-Shan Union. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't forget the ruthlessness of the Luo-Shun alliance back then. Back at the Divine Ruins, he was able to kill a giant, so there was no need to talk about it now. Entering the Luo-Shan Union, an elite alliance that was on the same level as the Glory Union in the Miracle Garden, it was time to disappear. "Wait for me here," Lin Feng said to Manzi. "Okay." Manzi gave a charming smile. A smart woman would not ask too much or care too much. She just needed to accompany him quietly. Behind Shimanzi, Jitai Ri stood in the dark like a killing god, protecting its mistress. The gears of history reappeared once again. It was very similar to the time when the 33 continents attacked the Dark God Mountain. However, Lin Feng was too strong now. He was far stronger than the Luotian Union. Even if all the human experts on the Dark God planet worked together, he would not put them in his eyes. There was no need for the Luotian Union to exist anymore. The Miracle Garden was once again in an uproar. After the 5 races of the Dark God planet, even the Luotian Union was uprooted. Only the Glory Union was left standing and had become the new leader of the human race. Lin Feng did not agree with King Tianyao, but no matter what, the Glory Union was where he grew up. He had to repay the kindness of recognizing his worth. Are you not going to meet King Tianyao, King White Tiger, and the others? Shimanzi asked. There is no need for that. Lin Feng smiled and looked at Shimanzi. You and I owe the Glory Union. We have paid them all before we left. Okay. Shimanzi nodded. They looked at each other and smiled. Then the two left. The Miracle Garden today was no longer the real Miracle Garden. The humans on the Dark God planet had completely changed. The sky had changed. Is the cultivation of the humans on Earth worse than the 33 continents? Shimanzi asked in surprise. Yes, by a lot. Based on the standards of the 33 continents, there are very few martial artists who have reached the cyclone stage. Lin Feng said. Shimanzi nodded thoughtfully. Previously, the Dark God planet's possessions, including various secret arts, sacred fruits, and medicine, should be able to greatly improve the quality of the humans on Earth. However, this is not something that can be done in a day. It will take a long time to subtly influence the changes. Lin Feng said. The harvest from eliminating the Dark God planet's 5 races was quite rich. Together with the wealth of the Luotian Union, it was enough for the Chinese martial artists to use for a while. With the new technology and the abundant cosmic energy after the Great Extinction, Earth would soon have stellar stage martial artists. However, this matter could not be rushed, especially since Earth was still on the verge of collapse. There was still a long way to go before it could recover. The treasures of the Dark God planet's 5 races are too high level. There are very few secret arts that are too basic. Big Brother Lin, you may need to purchase something more suitable. Shimanzi said softly. I understand. Lin Feng nodded and waved his storage ring. Therefore, I'm going to use up all the merits I got from the Dark God planet's 5 races. Leave these trivial matters to me. Shimanzi said with a smile. Okay. Lin Feng smiled. Manzi was much more suitable for this kind of trivial matter than him. He looked at Death Anniversary. The latter nodded and knew what to do. With Manzi's help, Lin Feng was much more relaxed. Then, he went to the Hall of Peerless and fought side by side in the God Ruins. Now that he was leaving, he had to say goodbye to Princess Chong and Princess Li. After all, they were friends. They had gone through thick and thin together in the Wan Shin Training Hall. Friends were men and women. After meeting and parting, Lin Feng went to the 5th region of the human race. Chapter 1194. Geniuses Remember Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. In the 33 continents, the Blood Tower was unique and unparalleled. However, in the Nirvana world, the Blood Tower was weak and not worth mentioning. The strongest person was the Blood Tower Master, Shui Sun, the only heaven glimpse expert. In the 5th region of the human race, it was not bad and had a place. However, in the 12 regions of the human race, it was far from the 1 yuan, 2 alliances, 3 palaces, for factions, and 8 sects. A black-clothed figure was sitting cross-legged. As the Blood Tower Lord, the only heaven glimpse expert in the Blood Tower, Shui Sun was constantly increasing his strength. His goal was very clear, which was to become a life-breaking expert and promote the Blood Tower to one of the 1 yuan, 2 alliances, 3 palaces, 4 factions, and 8 sects. There must be a chance. This war is a good opportunity for the Blood Tower to rise. Shui Sun's eyes were firm and persistent. As an assassin, no matter how bad the situation was, he would not give up hope. That's right. Suddenly, a voice came from behind him, scaring Shui-san to the point that his eyes widened. His 3 souls and 7 spirits had disappeared, and he turned his head almost reflexively. A shiny black dagger stabbed out decisively. His reaction and attack speed were extremely fast. However, there seemed to be an air wall in front of the dagger that could not be stabbed. Swish! Even the dagger slowly rolled up. Shui-san's face was filled with fear. He had never met such a powerful expert. A bloody light appeared in front of him, and the pressure was shocking. Shui-san stared at it and was stunned. It was a token that he was very familiar with. Blood-killing token? Shui-san was stunned. Pa! The shocking pressure suddenly disappeared, and the blood-killing token fell from the sky. Shui-san caught it in his hand. It was an ordinary blood-killing token, but it was not the blood-killing token of the Nirvana world, but the blood-killing token of the 33 continents. This, Shui-san was stunned. It's the first time we meet, Blood Tower Master. I'm Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled and reached out his hand. Shui Sr. Shui-san reached out his hand and shook it. As experienced as he was, he knew how terrifying the strength of the young man in front of him was. It would be easy for him to kill him, but the young man did not seem to be hostile. All he could do now was to follow the young man's will and not resist. Don't worry, I won't harm you. Lin Feng pointed at the blood-killing token in Shui-san's hand and said, to tell you the truth, I'm from Shuelo of the 33 continents. Whoosh! Shui-san's eyes lit up. He was surprised and pleasantly surprised. So, Senior Lin, although the other party had revealed his identity, Shui-san still did not dare to be negligent. In front of such a powerful expert, it was better to be humble and not try to curry favor with him. It's nothing. I just wanted to say hi. Lin Feng looked at Shui-san with a smile. He raised his hand, and a storage ring flew out. It's not easy for the Blood Tower to develop. Here are my keepsakes and King Fanxing's keepsakes. If the Blood Tower encounters any trouble, just go to the Glory Alliance. Glory Alliance. Shui-san's breathing quickened. What was the most terrible thing for a sect to develop? Without a backer. Now, the 5 Tian Mo clans and the Luo Shin Union had been destroyed one after another. Only the Glory Union was left. If they could rely on the Glory Union, the Blood Tower would definitely rise and gain a firm foothold in the Nirvana world. In addition, there are 10 billion battle merits inside. It's some of my financial support for the Blood Tower, Lin Feng said with a smile. 110 billion? Shui-san opened his mouth exaggeratedly. Even someone as calm as him found it difficult to remain calm. The Blood Tower's current battle merits only exceeded 1 billion. If 10 billion battle merits were invested, the development of the Blood Tower would definitely be vigorous and soar to the sky. This is for you. Lin Feng took out the Phantom Demon G and gave it to Shui Sr., Super Heaven Grade Perfect Holy Treasure. With it, there should be few Heaven Glimpse powerhouses who are your opponents. For the current Lin Feng, the Phantom Demon G was dispensable. When one's strength reached the nebula level, stellar-level treasures were of little value. Shui-san was different. This level of treasure was equivalent to a beginner swordsman holding a peerless sword. It could increase his strength several times. Shui-san was so excited that he couldn't speak. Lin Feng smiled. I'm leaving. See you later. After explaining, Lin Feng left. He didn't have much of a relationship with Shui Senator. Helping the Blood Tower was just to repay the kindness of nurturing him that day. Thank you, Senior Lin. Shui-san looked in the direction Lin Feng left and bowed deeply. At this time, his heart was still beating extremely fast, and his eyes were full of respect. After leaving the Blood Tower, Lin Feng went to the Rising Sun Chamber of Commerce again. In the future, if you enter the Nirvana world, if you have the opportunity and ability, remember to help the Chamber of Commerce. Lin Feng didn't forget what President Sidhu said. A little bit of kindness should be repaid with a gushing spring. Compared to the situation of the Shuelo and the Rising Sun Chamber of Commerce in the Nirvana world, the only thing he could do was to help them a little. Even so, the Rising Sun Chamber of Commerce was reborn. Very quickly, 3 days passed. In the end, Lin Feng accompanied Shi Manzi back to the 33 continents so that the master and disciple could meet the giant beast and fulfill Shimanzi's only wish. At this point, all the matters on the Nirvana planet were settled. As for the conflict between the human race, the demon race, and the monster race, it was left to Shuang to deal with. Whether he liked to fight with his left hand or right hand, it was his business. It was time to go back to Earth. "We should go, Manzi," Lin Feng said softly. Shimanzi's beautiful eyes twinkled. "Brother Lin, you seem to have something on your mind." Lin Feng looked into the distance. His eyes were a little hazy. "There are too many entanglements between her and me. It's hard to tell who is right and who is wrong." Lin Feng murmured softly. "She may not want to see me, or now is not the time." The relationship between him and Left Zitong was too complicated. It couldn't be cut, and it was messy. But no matter what, they had an inseparable connection. Let time slowly sort out. Besides Shimanzi and Lipoji, there were also Son of Death and Wu Luan, his two subordinates under the soul contract. As for Demon Eye Emperor, Lin Feng didn't plan to bring her back. She had a high position in the demon race and could help him look after the Nirvana planet, Shuang, and Left Zitong. Whoosh, a bright light flashed, and the space seemed to be torn apart. It was a teleportation gate. It would return from where it came from. A month ago, Lin Feng had already asked Zhao to help repair the Sky Garden of the Holy Land on Earth and change the one-way teleportation to two-way teleportation. Nirvana planet didn't belong to the Jinlong Dark region. It would be too difficult for Zhao to control it completely. Moreover, two-way teleportation was more convenient. Lin Feng had already planned that when he went back, Nirvana planet would become a new world for the human race on Earth, a holy land for cultivation. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lipoji, Shimanzi, and Son of Death passed by one. Lin Feng turned his head and looked into the distance. He smiled at the black figure in the distance, waved his hand, and entered. Whoosh, humph, wishful thinking. It's not that easy to get rid of me. Shuang smiled coldly. Chapter 1195. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Finally, I'm home. Lipoji closed his eyes and opened his arms to feel the nature. Yes, I'm back. Lin Feng smiled. Because he had come back in between, his feelings were not as deep as Lipoji's. Lipoji had entered Nemo planet with him in the 103rd year of the war era when he was 19 years old. Now, he was 27 years old in the 111th year of the war era. A full 8 years of time was naturally different for Brotherly. What a weak spirit she, Wu Luan muttered. I didn't expect this to be the legendary Earth. Death's Son could not believe it. As a heaven-ranking elite, he naturally knew what the 5 races of Tian Mo knew. Yes, this is my hometown. Lin Feng smiled. In his hometown, it was not important whether he was strong or not. What was important was where his heart belonged. He turned to look at Shimanzi. She smiled sweetly without any expression. A smile from the bottom of her heart was enough to explain everything. To Shimanzi, if she married a chicken, she would follow the chicken. If she married a dog, she would follow the dog. As a woman, she naturally placed her husband first. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. The current Earth had changed a lot. After the Great Extinction, the spirit Shi had multiplied by 100 times. It had greatly increased the cultivation speed of the warriors, including the elemental beasts. Many of them had surpassed the strongest annihilation class monsters in the beast tide. One could see the ferocious elemental beasts with shocking combat power. If the elemental beasts were so strong, humans would have been wiped out. However, the elemental beasts were strong, but the new humans on Earth were stronger. Swish! Lin Feng looked into the distance. A young man in white was slaughtering a group of annihilation monsters in the sea. His strength had surpassed the legend level. The lightsaber was invincible, and very quickly, the entire sea region was dyed red. A pair of proud eyes glanced at Lin Feng, filled with arrogance and disdain. Then they left. Damn, this kid dares to look down on you, boss. Wu Luan roared. Shimanzi giggled. She was charming. Lin Feng's eyes were bright. Is this a technological civilization? Death's Son asked. Yes. Lin Feng nodded. With his status, he naturally wouldn't stoop to the level of a junior. Furthermore, the white-dressed youth's mind expanse had exceeded 70% at such a young age. Furthermore, he had taken the path of genetic technology, which left him rather astonished. Back then, M-Country also walked the path of science and technology. Other than the nuclear bomb commander, who could compare with him? But how many years had the nuclear bomb commander cultivated? How many years had this young man in white cultivated? Earth's technological development is changing with each passing day. Lipoji sighed. Whoosh, whoosh. 5 figures slowly moved towards Elemental City. This time, they returned quietly and did not inform anyone. With Lin Feng and Lipoji's speed, they could return to Elemental City in the blink of an eye. However, observing the new Earth from the perspective of an outsider, they gain a lot. Love go little say, cool. It's a bit strange. Lipoji sighed. Lin Feng said there are plenty of people with mind expanse exceeding 70%, but most of them are genetic powerhouses. But they're different from the genetic powerhouses from before. Lipoji said. Lin Feng nodded. They don't have the elemental heart, but their physiques aren't any weaker than the genetic powerhouses from before. They cultivate the path of strength. Death Sun said. The path of strength. The body was their forte. Powerhouses had combat strength and explosive physical strength. They also had complex, ever-changing, and powerful strength techniques. On Nemo, the demons were good at this. I didn't expect that the ancient Tianzhu cultivation method that was popularized back then would develop into another cultivation path. Lin Feng praised. Previously, he had promoted the ancient Tianzhu cultivation method in China because Earth's spiritual energy was thin and the path of ancient martial arts was difficult. The ancient Tianzhu cultivation method strengthened the body and cultivated aura energy. It didn't have high requirements for one's aptitude. The body was crucial to the improvement of genetic powerhouses. Only when the body could withstand it could they obtain more power. The existence of the elemental heart could enhance combat strength, but at the same time, it also increased the difficulty of cultivation. The new genetic powerhouses cultivation was simpler and faster. They divided their cultivation into 2 parts. Half of them used the ancient Tianzhu cultivation method to strengthen the body, and the other half took spiritual power fluid or gene fluid to improve the mind expanse. Who came up with this method? Lin Feng wanted to know. The wisdom of Huaxia humans was truly endless. Ancient Huaxia, capital city. After the Great Extinction, capital city developed rapidly. Not only did it maintain the political and economic center of ancient Huaxia, but it was also a place of talents. Among them, Baowak Garden, which suddenly rose 2 years ago, was the most prominent. It was established by the Zi family, Lu family, Sun family, Zhu family, and other ancient families that carried the bloodline of ancient Huaxia. With the support of the First Bank of China, Baohua Garden developed rapidly in just 2 years. Its power was close to that of the Elemental Commerce Alliance. Protect the homeland of Huaxia. Protect the homeland of Huaxia with our lives. Long live Huaxia! A group of genetic powerhouses shouted in unison. Inside Baohua Garden, there was a high-tech base. Batches of beam sabers and laser guns were manufactured. In the training base, shrouded in white light, genetic martial artists wielding beam sabers wore virtual reality glasses and were sweating profusely as they practiced. There was no need for instructors. Not only did the Superbrain have all the tutorials to help the martial artists improve step by step, it could also correct mistakes and analyze them. It was the best teacher. In the manufacturing base, gene capsules that condensed energy essence were manufactured one after another. It was the masterpiece of Baohua Garden. Even the Elemental Merchant Alliance couldn't do this because of his existence. Elemental territory. This place was now prosperous and prosperous. For years ago, it was only built as a temporary defense base. After the Great Extinction, it developed rapidly with Elemental City as the center. With the Elemental Commerce Alliance's strong financial investment and the fame of Huaxia's king, Lin Feng, shrouded in a halo, this place had now become the most prosperous place on Earth. Even the capital city of Huaxia could not compare to elemental territory. In addition, the Elemental Commerce Alliance controlled many sacred sites. Their power spread across the entire Earth, and they were vaguely independent of Huaxia, becoming the uncrowned king of Earth. In the elemental territory, not only were there citizens of Huaxia, but there were also talents from the new European Union, Americans, mixed bloods, and so on. Under Xia Rufeng's leadership, the reputation of the Elemental Commerce Alliance had reached the peak. As Xiaoling's father and the father-in-law of Huaxia's king, Lin Feng, Xia Rufeng's strength could not be considered strong. However, his connections, reputation, and experience were all top-notch in the Elemental Commerce Alliance. Previously, he had been managing the Elemental Commerce Alliance's affairs on Mars. After returning, he naturally took over the position of the Elemental Commerce Alliance's leader. The Alliance's leader, Huang Tian, Yi Fan, Han Fei, Xiao Yu, and the other core members were all nurtured by Lin Feng. Naturally, they would support Xia Rufeng 100%. At the entrance of elemental territory, several small teams of martial artists were patrolling and guarding. Shua, 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 shua. 5 figures descended from midair, causing a series of exclamations in the surroundings. They were Lin Feng's group of 5. Chapter 1196. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small. We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What do we get in? Li Poji looked at Lin Feng with a smile. Up to you. Lin Feng smiled. The invisible realm power was enough to distort the air and light. It was like a disguise. It was even easy for Lin Feng to become invisible. If he saw people with his real face, it would have caused a sensation. The name of the king of Huaxia was like thunder on earth. There were statues of Lin Feng everywhere. I haven't been back for a long time. It's completely different from when I left. Li Poji sighed and looked at Lin Feng. I want to be an ordinary person and walk around. That's exactly what I want. Lin Feng nodded. He also wanted to see what Earth was like now. The best way was to hide his identity and walk around the streets and alleys to get close to the most simple people. Shimanzi smiled and didn't mind. Death Anniversary was hidden in the darkness as if he didn't exist. Instead, Wuluan looked around and sniffed from time to time. He was very curious. But it seems like we need an identity pass to enter. Li Poji said, those few ants dare to block our way. I can blow them to death with a breath. Wuluan said proudly. Stupid. Death Anniversary's cold voice came, which made Wuluan's face turn green. He wanted to be angry, but he could only hold it in. He pouted his lips. Although he was a heavenly demon emperor and was considered a first-rate power in the Nirvana world, he was far from being on the same level as Death Anniversary. Master, please wait. I'll kill 5 people. Death Anniversary said. No need. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and pointed forward. Just go in. Everyone was stunned. Although he was a little confused, since Lin Feng had said it, Li Poji didn't need to worry. Sure enough, the 5 of them effortlessly walked in with the crowd. The guards didn't stop them at all, as if they were petrified. The realm power is really powerful. Li Poji sighed. It won't be long before you have it too. Lin Feng smiled. Brother Li's talent soul was already in the life-breaking realm. The 5 of them entered the elemental territory. It was bustling with activity. The modern technological city caused Shimanzi's beautiful eyes to twinkle in amazement. Wuluan sniffed around with his nose and revealed an intoxicated expression. Boss, the food in your hometown is so fragrant. Lin Feng smiled and said, when we get back to Elemental City, I'll let you eat your fill. Are you serious, boss? Wuluan's eyes widened. Lin Feng nodded. Even though Wuluan's strength was weak, since he had followed him, he was one of them. Naturally, he would not mistreat him. The buildings and the clothes here are completely different from those on Planet Nemo. Shimanzi smiled sweetly. How unique. Shimanzi, who was the disciple of Hong Ying, displayed a feminine charm with every movement. Shimanzi was a natural-born, enchanting beauty. Wherever the 5 of them passed, all kinds of men would look at them. Some were stunned, some were envious, some were longing, and some were even short breath. No matter where she went, Shimanzi was the most eye-catching rose. Umph, these people dare to look at Madame lustfully. Wu Luan's gaze was cold as he bared his fangs. Boss, I'll dig out their eyes and break their heads. Don't cause trouble, Lin Feng said. Li Poji looked at Lin Feng meaningfully. Seems like you're the one who wants to cause trouble, Brother Lin. Lin Feng smiled leisurely. Let's try. Li Poji shrugged. He did not care. Along the way, the elemental territory was very lively. There were people everywhere, shops, plazas, and restaurants. This place no longer looked like a defensive base. The current elemental territory was like a giant town. It had expanded more than 10 times from the original territory. It had developed rapidly in the past 3 years. There are statues of you everywhere, and martial artists worship you from time to time. Brother Lin, your prestige on Earth is unparalleled, Li Poji said. That goes without saying. Of course, boss is the best. Wu Luan flattered. Lin Feng said, it's all thanks to my father-in-law. He has developed a small elemental territory into the scale it is today. Along the way, he listened to all kinds of discussions. The more people there were, the more information there would be. He did not need to ask to know what had happened in the past 3 years. Xiao Rufeng is indeed good, but he's a little ambitious, Li Poji said. I understand. Lin Feng nodded. Apart from the elemental territory, the Elemental Business Alliance was also very aggressive in other places. Its influence spread across the entire Earth, not just the business network. His father-in-law had his reasons for doing so, but in fact, he did not wish to do so. He was the leader of the Elemental Business Alliance, but he was also a Chinese. From what he heard, many people living in the elemental territory had already belonged to the Elemental Business Alliance. They did not mention anything about China. My father-in-law means no harm. He just wants the Elemental Business Alliance to become the pillar of China. He doesn't need to be restrained and can have more power. Lin Feng knew his father-in-law very well. He was not a person who forgot his roots. It was just that sometimes the path he wanted to take and the path he really wanted to take would deviate a little. In fact, there was a big difference between them. I believe you. Li Poji smiled. He did not say anything extra, but his words were heartwarming. I'll take care of it. Lin Feng nodded. The appearance of Baohua Garden was already a warning. He did not want China to have internal strife right after the calamity on Earth. From what he knew, the genetic experts led by Baohua Garden and the ancient warriors led by the Elemental Business Alliance seemed to have started sparking. Baohua Garden? Lin Feng was very curious. Baohua Garden was established 2 years ago. With the help of the gene capsule, it rose to the sky like a rocket and gave birth to countless genetic experts. Until now, the inventor of the gene capsule was still a mystery. It doesn't seem to be Sun Shengren or Wen Jing, Lin Feng said. If the rumors were true, China might have given birth to another technological genius. While he was thinking, suddenly cough. A soft cough sounded in his ears. Lin Feng turned to look at Li Poji. The latter smiled meaningfully. Lin Feng looked ahead and saw a young man in brocade clothes standing in front of them. The young man whistled. In an instant, a group of warriors surrounded the 5 of them. Go away. What are you looking at? All of you go away. Mind your own business. A group of martial artists who looked like bodyguards were driving away the surrounding crowd. The well-dressed youth had purple eyeshadow, earrings, and wrist guards on both of his hands. He was currently staring at Shimanzi, his eyes shining brightly. He was like a beast that had been starved for a long time and couldn't wait to swallow Shimanzi whole. The young man did not hide his intention of peeping. His eyes were unruly, wanton, and domineering. Obviously, this was not the first time he had done this. As expected, the greater the power, the easier it is to be corrupted. Lin Feng sighed. Chapter 1197. I'll have to trouble the 5 of you. Please show me your territory pass. A well-dressed man in a suit walked out. Lin Feng smiled. Li Poji, who was beside him, also smiled knowingly. Are you looking for trouble? Wu Luan said angrily. Just as he was about to raise his fist, Wei Ri grabbed his wrist and said, Don't act rashly. This is our elemental manager, Mao Juanli. The man in the suit introduced seriously. The man in the luxurious suit raised his head and straightened his clothes. He had a look of superiority on his face. The man in the suit continued. Our supervisor suspect that the five of you have unusual identities. Please cooperate. Lipoji smiled. Isn't this a little too old-fashioned? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The bodyguard around them took out their laser guns and looked ferocious, making the onlookers step back in fear. It's young Master Mao again. He used his trick to catch a girl a month ago, and I don't know how she is now. What else can she be? Young Master Mao has been abusing his power for a long time, and he has done a lot of bad things with his power and his father's shadow. Who told this girl to be so beautiful? Sigh, such a beauty is going to fall into the mouth of a wolf again. Shoo, lower your voice. Aren't you afraid of being heard? His voice was as soft as a mosquito's, and the onlookers kept whispering to each other. Mao Junli and his group couldn't hear it, but Lin Feng heard it clearly. The man in the suit was called Mao Junli, and his father, Mao Bai, was an elemental manager. Since Xia Rufeng took control of the Elemental Business Alliance, he expanded the territory and became independent of the Elemental Business Alliance. There were elemental consuls, elemental managers, and elemental managers, and Xia Rufeng himself was also the president of the Elemental Business Alliance. Mao Bai was a talented person, and he was a member of the Elemental Business Alliance. He followed Xia Rufeng from Earth to Mars, and then from Mars back to Earth. After Xia Rufeng took control, there were 3 elemental managers in the territory, and one of them was him. Mao Junli was Mao Bai's son, and he was promoted to the position of elemental manager, but he appointed people by favoritism. Like father, like son, the Elemental Business Alliance has begun to rot. Lin Feng said, What did you say? Mao Junli's face turned green, and he was furious. Lin Feng saw it clearly. This was also the reason why he chose to hide his identity. The Elemental Business Alliance now had the 4 great sacred sites, and his reputation as the king of Huaxia was like thunder to everyone's ears. Coupled with the network of forces all over the earth, in fact, they had long surpassed Huaxia and the new European Union to become the uncrowned king of the earth. Moreover, the elemental territory was completely controlled by the Elemental Business Alliance, so they could do whatever they wanted. A rat's poop spoils a jar of rice. Lipoji looked at Mao Junli and said, Aren't you afraid that the king of Huaxia will know that you're abusing your position for personal gain? Mao Junli said coldly, Cut the crap. You guys don't look like good people. You must be from the Baohua Garden. Glancing at Shi Manzi, Mao Junli swallowed his saliva. His chest heaved up and down as he could no longer control himself. He had never seen such an alluring beauty before, causing his adrenaline to soar. In his mind, he thought of all the important figures that he could not afford to offend, but none of them were related to these 5 people. Mao Junli grinded his teeth, his eyes glinting. These 5 people insulted the Elemental Business Alliance's king and refused to cooperate with the investigation. Arrest them all. Mao Junli roared. Yes, sir. Some of the surrounding bodyguards took out their laser guns, while the others raised their rock-like arms, wanting to capture Lin Feng and the others. The surrounding people were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. The Mao family controlled the Elemental Business Alliance. Shaman Lin Feng suddenly said, Okay. Shaman Luan's eyes lit up. He couldn't hold it in anymore. He'd long since wanted to teach these ants who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson. The blazing pure yang energy suddenly exploded, and Wu Lun couldn't help but raise his head and howl. He was just about to start the slaughter when he suddenly noticed that the group of tall and sturdy men who were still standing a moment ago were all bleeding from their 7 orifices and lying weakly on the ground. Shaman Luan was stunned. Lin Feng smiled helplessly. Luckily, he reacted quickly and used his realm force to separate this area. Otherwise, Shaman Luan's howl would have killed everyone around him. Shaman Luan was a true heavenly demon arch. His combat power was no weaker than Rinpoche's 3 years ago. The strength of the humans on Earth was far from his. Stupid, Death's Son said coldly. Damn it, Shaman Luan gritted his teeth. Death's Son, you stole my prey. Death's Son rolled his eyes and snorted. Wu Luan was so angry that he couldn't restrain his anger. The surrounding crowd was all dumbfounded. They saw Mao Junli's group of guards about to capture the 5 people. But in the next second, as if they had been punished by the heavens, all the guards fell to the ground with blood flowing out of their 7 orifices dead. The only one alive was Mao Junli. Lin Feng looked at Mao Junli. It wasn't that Mao Junli was strong enough that Shaman Luan couldn't kill him, but Lin Feng didn't want him to die yet. Mao Junli's body trembled, and he staggered back. His head was buzzing, and he didn't know what happened. His people were all dead. Mao Junli was hysterical, and his eyes were red. You dare to use force in the elemental territory? You are dead. The Elemental Merchant Alliance will never let you go. The King of Huaxia will raze your Baohua garden to the ground. Bastard, just you wait. As he spoke, he staggered and ran away. He hated that his parents didn't give birth to him with 2 more legs. His eyes were full of anger and hatred. Lin Feng's eyes flashed, revealing a trace of killing intent. Let's go, Lin Feng said. Lin Feng and the other 4 were not in a hurry. They walked slowly. At this time, the elemental territory was completely different. Wherever Lin Feng's group of 5 passed, the crowd automatically made way for them. Their gazes were filled with awe, worry, envy, pity, fear, and all kinds of complicated emotions. The news of Lin Feng using force in the elemental territory and openly provoking the Elemental Business Alliance spread quickly. This group of young people is finished. If they don't leave now, they won't even know how they died when the experts of the Elemental Merchant Alliance arrive. So it's easy to say, after offending the Elemental Merchant Alliance, it's useless even if they run to the ends of the earth. Especially that Mao Junli who holds grudges. He must be looking for his father now. There are all kinds of birds in the forest. The reputation of the King of Huaxia is going to be ruined by these despicable people. Bear with it for a while. There's no need to fight with these despicable people. There were all kinds of voices, and it was obvious that the people were angry. Lin Feng's footsteps were calm and composed. His aura was locked on Mao Junli. Releasing the tiger back to the mountain was just to lure out a bigger tiger. Since he was the leader of the Elemental Merchant Alliance and the King of Huaxia on Earth, this was his duty. He had to eliminate what should be eliminated and change what should be changed. There were some things that he couldn't tolerate. Chapter 1198. Elemental Territory, Consulate General Headquarters. Brother Huang, I heard that the Merchant Alliance intends to build an elemental territory on Mars. Do you have any concrete information? Mao Bai asked. I heard from CEO Xia that they're still in the planning stage. It shouldn't be too far away. The person who spoke was a man in a martial attire. He didn't wear high-tech combat attire like the other martial artists. He was rather simple, but he was one of the top 4 martial artists on Earth, Huang Tian. Huang Tian was a rising star in the same generation as Lin Feng. After that, he was repeatedly groomed by Lin Feng. Now, his mind expanse was 90%. His combat strength in the Elemental Merchant Alliance was higher than Yi Fan, Han Fei, and the others. He was only inferior to Lin Feng. However, Lin Zhan didn't care about anything. It could be said that other than Xia Rufeng, he had the most power in the Elemental Merchant Alliance and was highly regarded by Xia Rufeng. The reason why he always wore martial attire wasn't because the defense of the martial attire was strong. It was because he always remembered Lin Feng's kindness and guidance. He treated Lin Feng as his teacher. Lin Feng liked to wear martial attire, so he followed suit. When Lin Feng practiced the saber, he also practiced the saber. He wasn't the only martial artist like this. In the Elemental Merchant Alliance in China, this trend was very strong. Now, the number of martial artists who practiced the saber far exceeded the number of martial artists who practiced the sword. Brother Huang, do you know who CEO Xia wants to be the president of the Mars Elemental Territory? Mao Bai probed. I don't know, Huang Tian said. Mao Bai's eyes flashed. Brother Huang, can you help me put a few good words in front of CEO Xia? If it's successful, I will definitely enough. Huang Tian was unhappy. He raised his hand and interrupted him. I respect you as a senior. I will pretend that I didn't hear this. Mao Bai revealed an awkward expression, but he was a little unwilling. He wanted to speak again. Suddenly, bang, The door was slammed open by a huge force, and a flustered figure rushed in. His expression was one of extreme fear. Mao Bai was angry that he was interrupted. He was about to scold when he saw the person who came in. His expression changed. "What are you doing here?" The person was Mao Bai's son, Mao Juanli. "Not good, Dad. The people from Baowa Garden came to trample on the field. My 36 guards were all killed in front of everyone's eyes." Mao Juanli said in horror. "What?" Mao Bai wasn't the only one who was stunned. "Bastard!" Miao Bai angrily slapped the table and stood up. He turned to Huang Tian and nodded. "I'm sorry, Brother Huang. I have urgent matters to attend to. Please excuse me." Huang Tian nodded. Deep in thought, he followed behind Mao Bai. Outside the consulate. "What the hell is going on? Tell me everything." Mao Bai's eyes were wide open as he roared. It's the Baowa Garden." Mao Juanli's body trembled as he stammered. "Pa!" A heavy slap to the face made Mao Juanli see stars. Mao Bai's finger poked Mao Juanli's chest. "Do you think I don't know how many tricks you have? How many times have I told you? If you walk by the river often, your shoes will get wet. I can't protect you every time. I'm sorry, Dad." Mao Juanli shrunk his head like a child who had done something wrong. Mao Bai's breathing was heavy, and his complexion was ashen. However, he was exasperated at the failure of his disciple to live up to his expectations. He shouted in a low voice, "Be honest and tell me everything. Only then can I help you. Do you understand?" "Yes." Mao Juanli nodded repeatedly. The central square of the elemental territory. "Ta!" Lin Feng stopped. This place was spacious, and there were at least tens of thousands of people around. It was a good place. Since he had done it, he would not stop. He would drag the vines all the way to the end until the rotten foundation of the Elemental Commerce Alliance was completely uprooted. Kill the chicken to warn the monkey. Then he would kill with more momentum. Mao Juanli is coming. Although Li Poji's sensing ability was not as good as Lin Feng's, it was more than enough on Earth. With his personality, how would he be willing to suffer in silence? He will most likely bring Mao Bai here, Lin Feng said calmly. His brain region is 70% open, and the rest of the guards are between 60% and 70% open. TSK. When did legend rankers become so worthless on Earth? Li Poji laughed involuntarily. When he left, legend rankers were just SOSO. Surpassing legend rankers, he did not even dare to think about it. But now, it seemed that everything had become very simple. Mao Bai had brought a total of 24 guards. Every one of them was a legend ranker before, and he himself had surpassed a legend ranker. 70% open is nothing. There are plenty of people on Earth with 80% open brain regions. There are even 4 with 90% open brain regions. Although he felt that the power of the Elemental Commerce Alliance had been corrupted, Lin Feng was still quite satisfied with Earth's current combat power. It was far better than what he had estimated 3 years ago. Earth's current spiritual energy was close to a small star level. Only by cultivating through the universal energy conversion device could it be possible to surpass a small star level. In just 3 years, for people with 90% open brain regions were born. It was quite impressive. What surprised him the most was that he did not know one of the 4 people. A new powerhouse. Fortune and misfortune go hand in hand. The Great Extinction will bring great disaster, but it is also an opportunity for Earth to take off. Li Poji said. Lin Feng said, "Now, we can arrange for people with 70% open brain regions to enter Nemo planet in batches to improve their strength, slowly improve their bloodline, and change Earth's spiritual energy environment. In time, Earth will definitely return to its former glory." Former glory? Li Poji's eyes shone. The mysterious and powerful Earth that Master mentioned before. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. Earth used to be very strong, but now it is so weak. Wu Luan whispered. Son of the Death said coldly, "It is not weak now. It is just that the seeds of strength have been buried too deep. As long as there is a good cultivation environment and opportunity, Earth's people will soon turn over. Even if they can't reach the peak, they will not be worse than Nemo planet. Master is the best example." Lin Feng nodded. Son of the Death was right. He believed that Earth would definitely return to its former glory one day. But now, they are here, Lin Feng said softly. A burst of noise came from the crowd. Everyone fearfully retreated to the sides. Led by Elemental Director Mao Bai, a group of experts from the Elemental Territory walked over. Beside Mao Bai was Mao Jianli. At this moment, he raised his head again, his face full of disdain and pride. From time to time, he would glance at Shi Manzi, the excitement in his eyes growing stronger. "Who are you?" Mao Bai shouted. His eyes kept looking at Lin Feng and the other four. He was very confused. Although he was very experienced, he had never seen these 5 people before. He didn't know where they came from. "Does it matter who we are?" Lin Feng said suddenly. Mao Bai snorted. "Of course. The new European Union is the new European Union, Huaxia is Huaxia, and the Elemental Business Alliance is the Elemental Business Alliance." Lin Feng's eyes became clear. "You mean, the Elemental Business Alliance has become independent of Huaxia?" Mao Bai's expression changed. He shouted angrily, "Nonsense!" Chapter 1199. In midair, Huang Tian looked down and frowned slightly. These 5 people look unfamiliar. Huang Tian observed each and every one of them carefully. He recognized all the experts on Earth, but he had never seen these 5 people before, especially that outrageously beautiful red-clothed woman. Female experts were rare, so it was even more impossible for him not to recognize her, except, "I think I've seen him somewhere before." Huang Tian looked at Li Poji and said thoughtfully. Li Poji didn't hide his face. Things had changed a lot in the past 10 years. Today's Earth was different from when he left. The number of people who could recognize him could be counted on one hand. Moreover, his appearance and temperament had changed a lot. He was only 19 years old back then, but now he was 7 years old. Deceiving the public with lies and sowing discord. Mao Bai roared with a pale face. The group of guards had already surrounded Lin Feng's group of 5. As the director of the Elemental Territory, Mao Bai's status and strength were top-notch. His posture was extremely imposing, and he was like a lion that roared violently, causing the surrounding people to not even dare to breathe loudly. "Sowing discord? What do we say?" Li Poji sneered. Mao Bai snorted. "Don't think I don't know what you want to do. You want to sow discord between the Elemental Merchant Alliance and Huaxia? Dream on. Mao Bai, as the director of the Elemental Territory, will never allow anyone to break the law and violate the law. No need to talk so much nonsense with him. Dad, take them all away." Mao Jianli gnashed his teeth. Mao Bai coughed heavily and glared at Mao Jianli. Then he shouted, "Capture them. Kill all those who refuse." The surrounding people were in an uproar. On the contrary, Lin Feng and the other 4 looked calm. Wu Luan even smiled. Boom, boom, boom. A group of titled experts of the Elemental Merchant Alliance attacked. Lin Feng suddenly shouted, "Huang Tian, come down." The thunderous shout echoed in the empty valley and shook the whole place. All the people's expressions changed. The shout seemed to be ringing in their ears. For those experts of the Elemental Merchant Alliance, it was like a bell had rung. Their minds went blank and their eyes were filled with stars. Huang Tian was the most shocked. With his strength, logically speaking, no one should be able to sense his existence. However, not only did that stranger know of his existence, he was even able to call out his name. Who was he? Huang Tian looked down at Lin Feng's back. He felt like he had seen him somewhere before. Unable to think of anything for a moment, Huang Tian shot out with a whoosh like an arrow leaving the bow. In an instant, he landed between Lin Feng and Mao Bai, forming a natural barrier. Brother Huang. Mao Bai didn't think that Huang Tian would come along. He panicked for a moment. This matter. Huang Tian raised his right hand, indicating that Mao Bai did not need to say more. He knew what was going on, but as the head of the Merchant Alliance, the Elemental Territory was not under his jurisdiction. In addition, he was not clear about the ins and outs of the matter, so he did not intervene. Dear friend, may I ask? Huang Tian asked politely. Although he was one of the top 4 overlords on Earth, he had followed Lin Feng for many years and knew that there would always be someone better than him. He had already washed away his pride and abandoned his past pride. He was humble and kept a low profile. Whoosh! Lin Feng immediately withdrew his realm power. Huang Tian's original appearance was revealed in an instant. His eyes widened, and he suddenly reacted. He immediately knelt on one knee. Greetings, Alliance leader Lin Shang. Huang Tian's sudden action caused everyone to be stunned. The powerhouses of the Elemental Merchant Alliance who had just recovered looked at Huang Tian and then at Lin Feng. They rubbed their eyes and shook their heads violently, as if their eyes were playing tricks on them. The face in front of them was so high and mighty. Every one of them had sincerely knelt in front of the statue. Alliance leader Lin Shang? Who is that? Mao Junli looked at his trembling father with a puzzled face. Dad, does our Elemental Merchant Alliance have Alliance leader Lin Shang? Li Poji laughed and said to Lin Feng, Brother Lin, I didn't expect that there would be someone who doesn't recognize you. Thud! Mao Bai knelt heavily on the ground and cowed out. My son has eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please forgive him, King of Huaxia. Boom! Mao Bai's words were like an atomic bomb exploding, spreading rapidly. Everyone was shocked and stunned with their mouths wide open. King of Huaxia. Who is the King of Huaxia? Thud! 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 In an instant, all the warriors and ordinary people knelt down in unison like dominoes. Their eyes were filled with pious worship. Some were crying tears of joy and trembling with excitement. That was the King of Huaxia, the great hero of Earth. They were so honored to be able to see the true face of the King of Huaxia with their own eyes. Dong! 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 Mao Bai kowtowed with all his strength. His eyes were full of fear and terror. His mind was blank. He couldn't think of anything and didn't dare to think of anything. He couldn't wait to sever his relationship with Mao Junli because he knew clearly, this time, he was finished. No one could save him because he had offended someone that no one could afford to offend. Get up, Lin Feng said to Huang Tian. Huang Tian cupped his hands. I have failed in my duty. Please punish me, Alliance leader Lin Shang. It has nothing to do with you, Lin Feng said indifferently. He glanced at Mao Bai and the petrified Mao Junli and said, Wu Luan, capture the two of them. Okay. Wu Luan's eyes shone with green light. In an instant, he passed through Huang Tian. The latter was completely stunned. Just as he reacted and turned his head, Wu Luan had already lifted Mao Bai and Mao Junli up like an eagle catching chicks. This kind of strength was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng leaped into the air and looked down at the pious people. Everyone, please don't worry. Since I'm the King of Huaxia, I will not play favoritism. I will definitely get rid of the malignant tumor of the Commerce Alliance and return everyone a peaceful, free, and equal world. Lastly, I want to tell everyone that one cannot forget their roots. I, Lin Feng, was born as a Huaxia person and will die as a Huaxia ghost. I will never do anything that will let Huaxia down. His voice was like rolling thunder that went straight into everyone's heart. Mao Bai and Mao Junli's faces were extremely pale. They lowered their heads like defeated roosters. Lin Feng smiled as he glanced at everyone. An invisible force lifted everyone up. In an instant, it was as if a breeze had brushed past, and his figure disappeared without a trace. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Li Poji, Shimanzi, Sun Death, and the others immediately followed. He ordered Huang Tian to inform all the elites of the Elemental Commerce Alliance to gather. Lin Feng brought Mao Bai and Mao Junli and went straight to the center of the elemental territory. He naturally would not make empty promises. Fortunately, he came back in time this time and did not make a huge mistake. However, it was enough to be a warning. In these 3 years, the Elemental Commerce Alliance had indeed developed very quickly. However, they had taken the wrong path. What he needed to do now was to turn the Elemental Commerce Alliance back on the right path. There was no possibility of compromise. As long as he was the King of Huaxia and the leader of the Elemental Commerce Alliance, he would not allow this ship to deviate from its course. This time, he wanted to kill one to warn the others. Chapter 1200. Beijing, Meeting Room. Lin Feng is back. The Marshal of Justice was overjoyed as he stood up. Everyone on the meeting platform looked at one another and instantly became noisy. This was a secret meeting that was held by the 7 dragon heads of Baohua Garden. Not only did they invite the righteous marshal, but they also invited many famous experts and families with high statuses. As the Elemental Business Alliance grew stronger, not only Baohua Garden, but even China felt the pressure. It was a sense of danger and urgency. Marshal Justice walked out and smiled. Marshal, please wait. Wait a moment, Marshal. The expressions of the dragon heads in the Beauty Preserve Garden changed as they hastily shouted. The righteous marshal stopped and turned around. Z family head Zi Qinghua frowned. Marshal, you should know the importance of this meeting. It concerns the life and death of China. As the highest leader of China, how can you stay out of this and leave just like that? That's right, Marshal, you can't leave. Lin Feng is not back. The Elemental Business Alliance is already pressuring us. Now that Lin Feng is back, enough. A thunderous roar sounded out from the Marshal Justice. Frowning, Marshal Justice said unhappily, I don't want to hear anything bad about King Huaxia. Sweeping his gaze across everyone here, including me, has no right to comment on King Huaxia. Don't forget how China managed to survive, how Earth managed to survive, and why each and every one of you are sitting here right now. All of you have to thank King Huaxia. His heavy words caused everyone to lower their heads, their faces filled with shame. Marshal Justice scoffed coldly and left. Elemental territory, everyone was talking. One by one, the experts who were in closed-door training came out one after another. Many warriors who were training outside also rushed back, not only because of the big event in the elemental territory, but also because they wanted to see the real face of the legendary Huaxia King, Lin Feng. In the hearts of every martial artist, King Huaxia, Lin Feng was like a god. This was also why the Elemental Business Alliance was able to expand and develop so quickly. Lin Feng was Earth's hero. He was also the savior of everyone in Huaxia. Yi Fan, Han Fei, Cheng Long, Jia Yuchen, the new and old business leaders of the Elemental Merchant Alliance had all arrived. All the consuls, managers, and directors of the Elemental Territory were present. Who would dare to not come when Huang Tian personally announced the news? Brother Lin, Xia Ling sprinted over. Behind her was her mother, Ji Ruhua, and in Fun and in Qi, who had been protecting her for 10 years. Lin Feng tightly hugged Xia Ling's exquisite body, his heart burning with passion. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. 3 years had passed, and Ling had become even more feminine. Her skin was so tender that water could be squeezed out of it. Her small and exquisite face, and her large eyes were extremely enchanting. Ling you've improved quite a bit, Lin Feng said with a smile. Ling Er's talent wasn't considered excellent, but her mind expanse was close to 90%. In terms of mind expanse, Ling was ranked in the top 10 on Earth. Yes. Xia Ling nodded her head in satisfaction and revealed a smile. Suddenly, her beautiful eyes couldn't help but glance at Shimanzi. Manzi greets Sister Xia Ling. Shimanzi smiled charmingly and bowed gently. Greetings, madam. Si Ri and Wu Luan also bowed. Lin Feng nodded at Shimanzi and looked at Ling You two chat first. Okay. Ling smiled sweetly. Lin Feng smiled. There was nothing to worry about between the two girls. Ling and Manzi would definitely get along well. Lin Feng then walked towards his mother, Ji Ruhua. After being separated for so long, there were too many things that they wanted to talk about. Gradually, everyone started to arrive. Even Xia Rufeng had arrived. After understanding the situation, he became even more silent. He originally didn't have any intention of fighting with China, because he knew Lin Feng's personality. Moreover, there was no need to fight on Earth. With the Elemental Merchant Alliance's wealth and power, it was enough to migrate to Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and so on. In less than 100 years, it would start to take shape. Within 1,000 years, the Elemental Merchant Alliance's footprints would be all over the solar system. However, this didn't mean that his subordinates were of the same mind. Some people were short-sighted and only cared about the small benefits at hand. They appointed people based on nepotism and were selfish. When they caused trouble, they didn't think about solving it. Instead, they tried to cover it up, escape, and deceive with lies. For example, Mao Bai, who had followed him for many years. Father-in-law has let you down often. Xiao Ruffing seemed to have aged a lot. I understand, father-in-law. Lin Feng smiled and patted Xiao Rufeng's shoulder. Don't worry. Leave this to me. Okay, Xiao Rufeng replied. Hundreds of thousands of people gathered, including the Justice Marshal and the 7 dragon heads of the Baohua Garden. Ordinary martial artists fought to be the first to enter. In the central square of the Elemental Merchant Alliance, Lin Feng stepped on a huge floating magnetic board and stood upright. In the yellow sky, Yi Fan and the others were behind Lin Feng. In front of the magnetic board were Mao Junli and Mao Bai, but they weren't standing. They knelt on the ground as if they were apologizing to all the Chinese people. I'm Lin Feng, the King of China. Lin Feng's voice was like a bell. Every word he said was heard by everyone. Because of my negligence, there was a rift between the Elemental Merchant Alliance and China. Lin Feng said slowly, I'm a Chinese, and the blood of China flows in my body. I will never betray China, and I won't allow anyone to betray China. Clang! Lin Feng held the black blade of sin in his hand. The black blade aura flashed and was placed behind the necks of Mao Junli and Mao Bai. First, there is a country, then there is a home. Only when there is a home will there be each of us. If the Elemental Merchant Alliance has done anything wrong during this period, I'll apologize on behalf of the Alliance. Since I'm a king of China, I won't cheat. Whoever betrays China, kill without mercy. While speaking, Lin Feng's eyes turned cold. Swish! The blade aura flashed and beheaded Mao Junli mercilessly. The martial artist immediately felt suffocated. Mao Bai clenched his teeth and trembled. He wasn't angry, but he was extremely regretful. He regretted that he had been too ambitious and wanted to reach the top in one step. Mao Junli abided by the law, raping and pillaging. He should be killed, Lin Feng said in a low voice. Lin Feng then looked at Mao Bai and continued, Mao Bai, as the CEO of the Elemental Merchant Alliance, has been dividing the Elemental Merchant Alliance and China to satisfy his own selfish desires. He should be killed even more. Lin Feng's voice rang out. In a blink, a black light flashed. In front of everyone, Mao Bai, who had a high position and wealth in the Elemental Merchant Alliance, was completely swallowed by the terrifying darkness. Lin Feng's terrifying saber art and terrifying strength made him look like a demon, the Grim Reaper. Lin Feng floated in the air, filled with killing intent. There was absolute silence below, complete silence. Everyone was intimidated by this. Chapter 12:01. Killing one as a warning to the rest. Lin Feng did not only want to intimidate the Elemental Merchant Alliance, but he also wanted to make his stand clear. He did not want the same thing to happen again. The center of the square was silent. The atmosphere was suffocating and heavy. Lin Feng's intense killing intent disappeared as though a storm had ended. Lin Feng knew what he had to do next, and he would do it without holding back. Here, I want to announce 3 decisions. His voice was like a spring breeze, instantly cooling the hearts of the crowd. First, the Elemental Merchant Alliance will officially open the Tong Tian Tower. Regardless of whether you're a member of the Alliance or not, you can enter. However, there will be a limit of 3 spots per day. Warriors who meet the requirements can wait to be ranked. The rules here are to treat everyone equally. It is the same for Elemental Merchant Alliance warriors. If you're not strong enough, you will only be courting death if you enter. Lin Feng's words caused an uproar. Second, the Elemental Merchant Alliance will officially open the Shiva sect's holy temple. Just like the Tong Tian Tower, regardless of whether you're a member of the Alliance or not, you can enter. There is no limit to the number of spots. As for the specific requirements, I will discuss with Justice Marshal before announcing it. The first decision had already left everyone speechless. The second decision made the crowd's blood boil. Opening the second sacred site, and there was no limit to the number of spots. The Tong Tian Tower was only suitable for talented souls. The Shiva sect's holy temple was different. The number of people who cultivated holy aura far exceeded the number of people who cultivated holy power by 1,000 times. Once this decision was announced, the Elemental Merchant Alliance's faces turned ugly. Lin Feng's action was undoubtedly bleeding. Third, Lin Feng's voice rang out as he landed. I will make public all the secret manuals. Cultivation methods that increase the mind expanse from 10% to 100%, including the cultivation techniques that are out of print. There will not be any concealment. These will all become public and free secret manuals that can be searched on the Superbrain. As long as you have the potential and are willing to work hard, then you will definitely be able to fulfill your talent. Boom! Lin Feng's voice exploded in the crowd. The first and second decisions were just a small test. The third decision was truly shocking. Why were those family clans so powerful? It was because they had the best cultivation techniques, the best cultivation conditions and environments, etc. They were passed down from generation to generation. But now, the earth itself was rich in spiritual qi, and after destruction, it was rebuilt. The disclosure of all the mental cultivation methods was tantamount to exposing all the secrets of the major forces. Indeed, they could continue to hide their cultivation techniques, but the secret manuals and manuals passed down from generation to generation. It was not necessarily better than Lin Feng's. Lin Feng's move was like a landlord who had given land to the peasants. In an instant, he had won the hearts of countless people. Looking at the group of excited warriors below, Lin Feng also revealed a smile. Giving roses to others would leave a lingering fragrance in one's hand. If Earth wanted to be strong, it could not be selfish. It had to let everything go. What kind of height one stood at, what kind of scenery one could see. To humans on Earth, a 100% mind expanse might be very powerful, but on planet Nemo, it was just a tiny starting point. Even in the 33 continents, it was like ants. In the Nirvana world, it was like a grain of sand. Among the three decisions, the ones who benefited the most were undoubtedly ordinary citizens and martial artists, followed by China. The only one who suffered a loss was the Elemental Business Alliance. This could be seen from the expressions of the Elemental Business Alliance's experts. But since the decision came from Lin Feng, no one dared to say no. Lin Feng would not disregard the Elemental Business Alliance's interests. China and Earth could be strong, but it did not mean that the Elemental Business Alliance would be weak. There were many ways to strengthen the Elemental Business Alliance. The simplest one was the Sky Garden. The Sky Gardens that had been modified by Qi would become the teleportation channel between Earth and Planet Nemo. Once the Elemental Business Alliance's elite experts entered and came back alive, their strength would increase tremendously. Lin Feng planned to only choose from the Elemental Business Alliance's elites. After all, this had to be strictly confidential. King of Huaxia, King of Huaxia, King of Huaxia. At this moment, thunderous roars came from below. Everyone was cheering the name of King of Huaxia from the bottom of their hearts. Their eyes were full of worship and reverence. Lin Feng's actions had completely convinced the Huaxia humans. Apart from the Elemental Business Alliance's experts, there were also the 7 dragon heads of the Baohua Garden. With excitement, the Huaxia people in the central square quickly spread the news of Lin Feng's 3 decisions. 1 spread to 10, and 10 spread to 100. In a short while, the news had spread throughout Huaxia. Other than praising Lin Feng's noble character and selfless dedication, people could not wait to enjoy the power. If the conditions allowed, who would not want to become stronger? In fact, many people just did not have this opportunity, especially those poor martial artists. Many of them were talented, but they were exposed to the most mediocre techniques. They wasted their time at the best age and the best time to practice martial arts, which was at the golden age of 30. By the time they had a certain amount of money and status, they would have lost the opportunity to become an expert. But now, everyone was standing on the same starting line. As long as they were willing to work hard, then there was a possibility of fulfilling their talents. Often, I know you're doing this to make up for the people's hearts, but isn't the price too high? Xia Rufeng frowned and asked. It's not just to make up for the people's hearts. Huang Tian said, Alliance leader Lin Shang's actions not only restored the Elemental Business Alliance's reputation, but also eased the relationship between Huaxia and the Elemental Business Alliance. You also suppressed the restless forces in Huaxia, making them unable to stir up trouble. For example, the Baohua Garden will not be able to do anything big after this battle. Lin Feng smiled and said, "You are all thinking too much. I am only doing what I think should be done. Even if this incident did not happen, I would still do the same." Really? Xiao Rufeng and Huang Tian were confused. Yes, Lin Feng nodded. However, the effect of announcing it now was indeed better. His father-in-law and Huang Tian were right, but they had never been to Nemo Planet and could only see what was on Earth. Xiao Feng, Marshal, Lin Feng, and the Marshal of Justice were reunited once more. They hugged and smiled. The two of them did not need to exchange too many pleasantries. After fighting side by side, they had already built a deep relationship and trust. The reason why Huaxia did not fight with the Elemental Business Alliance was because Justice Marshal was suppressing them. He clearly knew his position and what he should do. "Don't worry. Leave the Baohua Garden to me," Justice Marshal said. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Marshal, your identity is sensitive, so I will handle it myself. Earth has just calmed down, and there are already people stirring up trouble. It takes two hands to clap. Although the Elemental Business Alliance is in the wrong, there are also people scheming against the Baohua Garden." Justice Marshal nodded and said, "Do as you see fit." "I will," Lin Feng said. "Also, I want to see the true backbone of the Baohua Garden. The super genius that you personally brought to Tong Tian Tower, the creator of the gene capsule." Xiao He. Chapter 1202. The Tower of Babel was a treasure trove. If the Babylonian kingdom hadn't kept the Tower of Babel to themselves, they wouldn't have ended up like this. Since Lin Feng took over, the Tower of Babel had sent batch after batch of talented experts to China and the Elemental Merchant Alliance. Although the survival rate of the Tower of Babel was quite low, those who survived would be able to activate their talent souls. They were extremely powerful. In the first year that Lin Feng took over the Tower of Babel, Sun Shengren obtained an overall score of 908 points. In the second year, Wen Jing obtained an overall score of 933 points. From the third year onwards, there were no more super geniuses with an overall score of more than 900 points. Until January 108 of the War Era, a bright comet was born. Xiao Yi, an overall score of 981 points. Lin Feng looked at the data in his hand and was amazed. Even back then, he might not have been able to achieve such a high comprehensive score. She combined the strengths of Sun Shengren and Wen Jing. Although she was not as good as Sun Shengren in terms of strength and technology, and was not as good as Wen Jing in terms of simulation research, Xiao Yi's innate talent was extremely high, and the speed of her brain region's improvement was quite fast. Innovation. She had a powerful innovation ability that Sun Shengren and Wen Jing didn't have. She also controlled two types of technology at the same time. This was very scary. Moreover, she was younger than Sun Shengren and Wen Jing. In terms of innovation and future thinking, she obtained a perfect score of 100 points. Wen Jing, the current chief of research of the Elemental Merchant Alliance, was generous with her praise and praise. Unfortunately, Xiao Yi was recommended by the Justice Marshal and wasn't a member of the Elemental Merchant Alliance. Creating a gene capsule that combines the ancient Indian path of strength and the path of genetic technology greatly reduces the time wasted in the initial stage of cultivation. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Her innovation was based on the current cultivation environment on Earth. Even if he brought so many pills, sacred fruits, and excellent cultivation manuals, they were not as good as her path. As long as there were enough gene capsules, there would be many experts with a brain region that exceeded 70% open. Not only that, she also used the superbrain to calculate and modify the ancient martial arts, deducing the process and simplifying the cultivation of martial arts. That's a good idea, but there's no such thing as a shortcut in martial arts, Lin Feng said softly. Even though that was the case from her point of view, what she had done was already breathtaking. Including herself, in the short span of 2 years, her innate talent soul had grown by leaps and bounds. Now, she had surpassed Sun Shengren and was even closer to Wen Jing. It was only a step away. 15 years old, 85% mind expanse. Lin Feng's heart palpitated. Of course, it wasn't fear, but joy that came from the bottom of his heart. This was a rising superstar, the hope of China's future. Such a talent could not be missed. Beijing Baohua Garden. The security was tight, with layers of invisible electric nets and magnetic fields locking down the area. Countless genetic experts patrolled the area, and not even a mosquito could enter. This place had a defense that was second only to Elemental City, and it was Xiao Yi's doing. If you have any thoughts, feel free to speak your mind. Zi Qinghua sat at the head of the table with a serious face. The other 6 dragon heads also frowned. The appearance of the king of China, Lin Feng, gave them a head-on blow. They didn't have the upper hand in the first place, and they relied on slowly accumulating popularity and moral high ground to attract the overlords of China to join them. Only then could they gradually compete with the Elemental Business Alliance. But now, Lin Feng's appearance had taken away all the faith and hearts of the Chinese people. 2 years of hard work had almost gone down the drain. The most troublesome thing now is that even the righteous marshal doesn't help us anymore. Yeah, the righteous marshal holds a high position. His words and actions represent the entire China. Large and small families follow his lead. Sigh. Everyone sighed. The development in the past 2 years had been too smooth. They had completely forgotten the existence of him behind the Elemental Business Alliance. The king of China, Lin Feng. I have a suggestion. Zhu Horan, who hadn't spoken until now, swept his gaze across the crowd. The Elemental Business Alliance now has the right time, place, and people. With the return of the king of China, Lin Feng, and the support of the righteous marshal, our Baohua Garden has no chance of winning against them. It can even be said that we don't even have the qualifications to hit a rock with an egg. Everyone was silent. Although Zhu Horan was speaking the truth, it was a huge blow to their morale. There's only one way left. Zhu Horan's dim eyes flashed. Feign civility, pretend to surrender, and keep a low profile. I've heard that the king of China, Lin Feng, is a kind person. As long as we show sincerity, I believe he won't make things difficult for us because we are of the same Chinese bloodline. We can slowly wait for an opportunity. Especially Xiao Yi, as long as we can give her a few more years. If the king of China, Lin Feng, recognizes first, she will recognize second. The other dragon heads whispered. Zhu Horan's method was very feasible. The only thing they had to do was to give up their self-esteem. It wasn't difficult. I agree. This method can work. Yes, it's a good plan. All the dragon heads expressed their opinions. Zhu Horan smiled with satisfaction and was about to open his mouth when suddenly, I don't agree. A calm and indifferent voice sounded, causing the 7 dragon heads to be startled. You look at me. I look at you. I don't know who the voice came from. In the midst of their shock, the space above them suddenly collapsed, and the earth and rocks cracked. The 7 dragon heads were shocked and were about to look up when a figure appeared in front of them. The king of China, Lin Feng. Everyone has selfishness and desires. But you can't put these above the country. Under the banner of justice, you can do despicable and shameless things in secret. This is very despicable. Lin Feng smiled slightly, and his eyes suddenly became sharp as he shot at Zhu Horan. In an instant, Zhu Horan's face turned as red as a pig's liver. His hands tightly wrapped around his neck, and he let out an unpleasant and hoarse sound. His eyes were wide open, and his legs couldn't help but stomp on the ground. However, his neck was grabbed by a pair of invisible hands, and he was suspended in the air. One of the 7 dragon heads, the head of the Zhu family, an expert with a brain region of 78%, was like a defenseless little chick. Crack! His neck bone broke, and Zhu Horan's head tilted to one side. He fell to the ground with a bang and died on the spot. The other 6 dragon heads looked at Lin Feng in shock, not daring to move. A terrifying aura enveloped them, and Lin Feng's eyes were like the gaze of a death god. With Zhu Horan's death, Lin Feng's index finger pointed to the sky, and in an instant, It turned into 5 rays of cold light. Chi, 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 chi. A crisp sound rang out, and like 5 sharp blades, the 5 dragon heads were beheaded in an instant. Their eyes were filled with shock and fear, and blood flowed all over the ground. Only Zi Qingsheng was left. His face was pale, and he fell to his knees. Chapter 1203. Scram. I don't want to see you again. Lin Feng's voice was calm and indifferent. Zi Qingsheng's eyes widened in disbelief. It was as if he had just escaped from the gates of hell. He stood up in panic. Thank you, King of Huaxia, for not killing me. Thank you. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead. Zi Qingsheng was afraid that Lin Feng would go back on his words, so he crawled out of the door. The Zi family has declined, Lin Feng said regretfully. During the war era, the Zi family was glorious. Their power spread throughout ancient Huaxia, and they even had the true martial emperor who was invincible. However, with the death of the true martial emperor, the Zi family gradually declined. The current eldest son, Zi Qingsheng, only knew how to scheme. He had even lost the most basic pride of a warrior. He let him go because he had promised the marshal of justice. After all, Zi Qingsheng was the true martial emperor's descendant. The true martial emperor had contributed so much to Huaxia that he could not bear to reject the marshal of justice. However, the Baohua Garden was no longer necessary. As long as he was alive, he would protect Huaxia for a day. The Baohua Garden is indeed worthless, but she and her research results are very useful. Lin Feng's figure flashed and left. Killing the leaders of the 7 dragon heads was secondary. His real purpose in coming to the Baohua Garden was to kill her. Xiao Yi. Now, the 15-year-old super genius girl. The research room of the Baohua Garden was empty. 8 researchers were busy operating the super brains with extremely fast processing speed. In the middle of the room, there was a graceful girl with long hair, a yellow tube top that revealed her small waist, and jeans. She was standing there quietly, thinking about something. Light blue eyeshadow, slightly raised eyelashes, light pink blush, jelly-colored gel, and fashionable makeup. She looked completely out of place with the atmosphere of the research room. However, she was the supervisor of this research room, the 15-year-old Xiao Yi. She's dressed like a young girl. Lin Feng smiled. He did not expect this legendary super genius to look like this. She was completely different from the quiet and dignified girl. Perhaps it was because she had such a personality that she had such amazing innovation ability, creating miracles one after another. In front of him was a strict facial identification system. This identification system, created by Wan Jing's simulation, was now quite complete and popular. A glint flashed across Lin Feng's eyes. In an instant, the identity verification system began to emit a buzzing sound. With the forceful interference of realm energy, Lin Feng directly broke through the door. He naturally didn't have that much time to waste on opening the door. Everyone in the research room was shocked, including Xiao Yi. Her stunned expression was very amusing. From today onwards, I will take over the Baohua Garden, Lin Feng said softly, causing all the researchers to be even more dumbfounded. What happened? Xiao Yi pursed her lips and looked straight at Lin Feng. Baohua Garden used the name of protecting Huaxia to satisfy their own selfish desires and attempt to divide Huaxia. Lin Feng said, Zi Qingsheng has confessed everything. The other 6 dragon heads were killed on the spot. From today onwards, Baohua Garden is no more, including this research room. There is no need to exist anymore. You, Xiao Yi was startled and immediately said angrily, Who do you think you are? What right do you have to kill people? What right do you have to convict Baohua Garden? Also, Baohua Garden belongs to Baohua Garden. This research room is mine. What right do you have to take it away? Who are you? With her hands on her hips, Xiao Yi's continuous scolding made Lin Feng laugh. What a good little pepper. Because I am the king of Huaxia. Lin Feng smiled and answered. King of Huaxia? King of Huaxia can do whatever he wants? King of Huaxia can be unreasonable. Xiao Yi crossed her arms and was furious. Looking left and right, there was no chair. She suddenly sat on the ground and said, I will stay here and not leave. If you have the ability, kill me too. Lin Feng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had never encountered such a situation. This Xiao Yi was really fierce. Then what do you want? Lin Feng asked. Me. Xiao Yi opened her mouth, but didn't know what to say for a moment. Anyway, I am not leaving. So what if you're the king of Huaxia? Lin Feng smiled and said, let's be honest. I hope you can come and help me. Don't bury your talent. I will give you the same treatment as Sun Shengren and Wen Jing. You will be in charge of a research room with hundreds of researchers. You don't have to listen to anyone. You only have to be responsible to me. As for this place, Lin Feng looked around and said, don't you think that the super brain and mechanical equipment here are too backward? Xiao Yi puffed up her cheeks. Obviously, she agreed with Lin Feng's last sentence. Why should I listen to you? Xiao Yi snorted and said, I am from Baohua Garden. You destroyed Baohua Garden and still wanted to leave with you. You're dreaming, right? Wrong. Lin Feng had a solemn expression. First of all, you're not from Baohua Garden. You are Chinese. Secondly, you owe me a favor. Xiao Yi frowned and said, when did I owe you a favor? Lin Feng said, Sky Split Tower has always only been accessible to Elemental Commerce Alliance warriors. Since you do not belong to the Elemental Commerce Alliance, you naturally owe me a favor by awakening your talent soul in Sky Split Tower. You are twisting words and forcing logic. Xiao Yi turned her head away. Lin Feng smiled and said, how about this? Let's make a bet. If you lose, come and help me. If you win, I will grant you 3 wishes. What are we betting? Xiao Yi narrowed her eyes and was very wary. 100% mind expanse. Lin Feng said, I believe you are very confident in your talent. With the help of the gene capsule, I bet that between you and Wen Jing, who will reach 100% mind expanse first. How about it? Do you dare to accept? Director Wen? Xiao Yi muttered. Lin Feng smiled and said, if you feel that Wen Jing is too strong, then how about Sun Shengren? If Shengren is still too strong, why not? No need. Xiao Yi glared at Lin Feng and said, Director Wen is Director Wen. I'm not afraid of you. However, I have a condition. Speak. Lin Feng said. Xiao Yi turned her head away from Lin Feng and said, I need funds. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. Scientific research had always burned money. Without Baohua Garden's aid, the research lab's funds would naturally be cut off. I will get Huang Tian to send the money over. I will get Justice Marshal to give you the manpower. I will give you however much you want. I want you to accept your loss wholeheartedly. Lin Feng smiled valiantly and didn't say anything else. He had a rough understanding of Xiao Yi's personality. Although she was shrewish, she had a straightforward personality. With her personality, she would naturally respect the bet. Don't let down on me. I will definitely win. Xiao Yi clenched her fists. Chapter 1204. To Lin Feng, there was no suspense in the outcome of this battle. Of course, it was different for Xiao Yi. At that moment, she was doing her best to cultivate and raise her talent soul. She wasn't stupid. The arrival of China's King Lin Feng had doomed Baohua Garden's failure. Losing to Lin Feng's Baohua Garden wasn't an injustice. Even someone as strong as Guido had been defeated. He had once withstood the annihilation meteorite alone. The king of Huaxia, Lin Feng, was a living legend. The reason why she agreed to the bet was partly because she had no way out. Across China, there was no place that wasn't enveloped by China's King Lin Feng's halo. Unless she was willing to give up her passion for scientific research, she could only submit to circumstances. Another reason was because Xiao Yi was like every warrior in China. She was a loyal admirer of China's King Lin Feng. Her generation had witnessed miracles with their own eyes. They were the generation that had witnessed the rise and fall of China on Earth. Lin Feng's appearance had saved China and Earth. He had also saved them. But I have to win. Xiao Yi was someone who refused to admit defeat. She wanted to prove herself. Therefore, she didn't join China's research department where Sun Shengren was, nor did she join the Elemental Commerce Alliance's research department where Wen Jing was. Instead, she chose Baohua Garden. It was a backward place without top-notch research equipment or good assistance. However, she could be completely independent and prove her talent. In terms of talent, Wen Jing is no match for me. Xiao Yi knew very well that even though her mind expanse was 85 and Wen Jing was 87, she had only cultivated for slightly more than 2 years since she activated her talent soul. Wen Jing's cultivation time had exceeded hers by more than double. China's king will definitely give Wen Jing the best cultivation environment. With the help of pills, he is very confident. Xiao Yi thought to herself, if I want to win, I have to develop a brand new capsule. Xiao Yi's goal was firm and clear. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry. There was no way he could lose this bet. A holy fruit or a few pills could allow Wen Jing's mind expanse to reach perfect 100. Furthermore, it was even easier to let Wen Jing directly enter the 10,000 origin mustard stone space. Not only could she quickly attain a perfect body, but she could also give birth to a soul sprite. Big brother Lin Feng, Ling Er, Wen Jing, and Sun Shengren. Lin Feng's initial plan was to have 4 people. He could directly nurture the innate talent soul and build a solid foundation. There was only to talk about Lin Zhan and Ling Er. Wen Jing and Sun Shengren were the precious talents of science and technology on Earth. He naturally had to nurture them with all his heart. As for his younger sister, Yu Er, she was still young. Her abilities weren't stable enough. After leaving Baohua Garden, Lin Feng stayed in Beijing for a while to see his old friends and Sun Shengren's research results. In these 3 years, Sun Shengren had made quite a bit of progress. He had obtained some results in his research on the spiritual energy fluid, and now it had completely surpassed the best spiritual energy fluid in the country. Walking on the path of an orthodox genetic martial artist, the elemental heart and spiritual energy fluid could easily break through 70 brain expanse. But because of Xiao Yi's sudden appearance, Sun Shengren was overshadowed. Continue to work hard. Lin Feng patted Sun Shengren's shoulder. Don't belittle yourself. Xiao Yi can't compare to you in terms of immersion and research on strength and technology. She might have found a shortcut now. It's a very fast path, but there are certain risks. Personally, I prefer to fight steadily and surely. Really? Sun Shengren's eyes lit up. Of course, the path of science and technology is the same as the path of cultivation. The path won't be wasted. Lin Feng said, walking fast in the front doesn't mean you will walk fast in the back. Walking fast doesn't mean you will walk steadily. Just do your best. Sun Shengren nodded heavily. His eyes were filled with gratitude. Sun Shengren's words woke him up from his dream. After receiving Huaxiao King Lin Feng's affirmation, he was filled with confidence. He wasn't inferior to Xiao Yi. Lin Feng left Beijing. Although he wanted to immediately return to the Great Wall of the Saint Remains, there were still many more important things to deal with. In particular, Miracle Saint King Qi how could arrive on Earth as soon as tomorrow. Other than himself, even Li Poji was not his opponent. There's no hurry to pass the 3 tribulations and 3 lifetimes, as well as to form a soul contract with Dr. Jean. Lin Feng's figure disappeared. Returning to the elemental territory, the Huaxia humans were celebrating in high spirits. Firstly, it was the return of Huaxia King Lin Feng. Secondly, it was the implementation of the 3 decisions. With Huaxia King Lin Feng as the leader, the hearts of the people were united and unbreakable. Although Baohua Garden was disbanded, no one regretted it. In Huaxia, Lin Feng was the absolute king, returning to Elemental City, returning home. Home was the most important thing to Lin Feng. It was the harbor of his soul, sustenance, and motivation. Outside Elemental City, there were lanterns and streamers. With Huang Tian as the leader, the Elemental Commerce Alliance's martial artists lined the streets to welcome him. Many ordinary people surrounded him, especially the people who hadn't seen Huaxia King Lin Feng before. They were even more energetic. Isn't that the new alliance leader, Cheng Long? Yeah, beside him is the new alliance leader, Jia Yuchen, and one of the 4 top experts of Earth, Huang Tian. The meritorious officials of the Elemental Commerce Alliance, Minister Yi, and Lord Han Fei are all here. Wow, it's so lively. The people suddenly realized that the big shots of the Elemental Commerce Alliance that they normally couldn't see, even if they wanted to, were all here. They stood respectfully, not out of dignity. Their eyes were emitting a fiery expression that came from the bottom of their hearts. Hua! It was like a gust of wind. Lin Feng had a smile on his face as he floated over. Greetings, Alliance leader Lin Shang. The Elemental Commerce Alliance's martial artists knelt on one knee, their faces full of excitement. Greetings, Huaxia King. The dense crowd knelt down to show their respect. A shocking scene appeared outside Elemental City, announcing the official return of Huaxia King Lin Feng. He was the uncrowned king of Earth. No one could shake him. Let's go home. Lin Feng opened his arms and hugged his family members one by one. His mother, Ji Ruhua, his father-in-law, Xia Rufeng, his wife, Xia Ling, his elder brother, Lin Zhan, his younger sister, Lin Yuer, and his disciple, Xiao Yu. All of them were present. Lin Feng felt his heart melt as he felt the warmth of his family amidst the sweetness of love. Nothing in the world could compare to this sincere affection. Power, status, and everything else were empty. This was because humans were animals with feelings. Lin Feng suddenly saw a little girl hiding behind his wife, Xiao Ling. She was peeking at him secretly with half of her head. Her big round eyes were very cute. Looking at this little girl, his heart skipped a beat, and a familiar feeling surfaced in his heart. Ling this little girl is... Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. Xiao Ling smiled and pulled the little girl out from behind her. She said gently, Xiaoing, why aren't you calling Daddy? Daddy? Lin Feng was instantly stunned.